I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Generally, you said feminism is neutral.
Here's what actually happened.
The foundation of all knowledge.
Money. I'm really mad that
this is how men
what
end
difference
up
does it make,
in
right? What
the
difference
Weird.
Stop.
The deregulation of the industry is obviously going to cause more of that industry.
To lubricate the trust connection between people until they have enough.
Yet we could still look at biological reality in determining who's a female, even if there are.
Why don't you denounce feminism the same way you're denouncing capitalism? If you don't...
For something to be objective, it needs to be verifiable. And you can't verify...
If I make a claim as a political pundit, it is true that I definitely could be wrong. That you're promoting, right?
Ideology is the main tenet of politics, right? This is my ideology. So 2015, anyone go back and watch the footage. The first GOP debate.
Cool, Robert. Oh, that? With a crowbar, you said.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this week's Moderator Monday. I am Sara, the Raging Tomato, bringing to you live another fun debate. My apologies for the delay. The Bratty Tomato was playing a game. They won 8-1. They kicked butt, so it was all worthy of a good cause, I promise. Anyways, the statement or the question of the evening is, are anti-abortion laws effective at reducing abortions? Steelborn, would you like to kick off with your opening statement, please?
Yeah, thanks for having us all up here and finding this rowdy bunch of bad people to come up in here and do this debate. None of us are qualified enough to do this, but we're going to do it anyways. Tonight, my partner and I will be arguing that laws that ban or at very least heavily restrict access to abortion, if they are enforced, are/will be effective in lowering the abortion rates. The opposition is going to have to defend against a few arguments I'm going to make, which are kind of out of their handbook. If they took this view of bans don't work, then it's a logical conclusion they would have to argue that we shouldn't ban things like arson, theft, murder, SA, because there's no point. If we ban them, it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to lower the total number of any of those things. We'd have to argue that their advocacy for gun control wouldn't work. Tarring and feathering politicians, well, it doesn't happen, but not because of the ban. That has nothing to do with that. Saying you can't do that to people doesn't have anything to do with it. They basically have to argue that banning something doesn't reduce the totality of whatever the behavior that we're trying to reduce is. Not only is this blatantly false, but it's so easy to point out how this line of reasoning would lead to societal collapse. I can demonstrate in multiple areas such as Texas, Poland, Nicaragua, and Florida that the abortion rates have dropped and the birth rate has had an uptick. According to an article from the Johns Hopkins University, in a study examining the impacts on the 14 states in the United States that banned abortions between 2022 and 2023, they found that there was an unexpected increase of over 22,000 live births from their estimations, meaning 22,000 more than they anticipated. It's kind of funny how that works. Now my opponents might argue that infant mortality has slightly increased by about 5.6%. Sounds really, really high until you look at what the actual numbers they are that the 5.6% represents, meaning that instead of 5.93 per 1,000 live births, 5.93 babies would die. It's increased to about 6.2, so about an increase of 0.25. So Now, as it is sad that, infants pass away, natural causes are a lot less, upsetting to people than the intentional destruction. So if you have more babies being born, the likelihood of some of them dying is going to necessarily increase. But again, this is all stemming from the idea that bans don't work to reduce the abortions that we're specifically advocating against. I'd have to say that those 22,000 live births or live birthed children would disagree, since they're here to tell you that. With that, I can't wait to get into the debate, and I will see the rest of my time.
Thank you, Stillborn. Speakeasy to you, please.
All right. So thank you to my partner for coming out. Sarah, I got to give it up to you for finding two people stupid enough to take the opposite side of this. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off really quick. We're debating whether anti-abortion laws are effective at reducing abortion. The answer is obviously fucking yes, right? If you ban something, you get less of it. Laws reduce the behavior, period, right? Pretending otherwise is like saying, do speed limits reduce speeding? Of course they do, right? Some jackass is still going to do 95 in a school zone, but overall the numbers are going to drop, right? Suddenly, though, with abortion, people act like human nature magically suspends itself, right? If you raise the cost, you raise the risk, you limit the access, fewer abortions happen. It's economics 101 married to biology 101, right? Just like my partner mentioned, you look at the Texas SB 8 hit, abortion numbers collapsed by half in a month, right? This isn't just a vibe or a guess, that's math, right? And he mentioned also Poland, El Salvador, Nicaragua. These are all cause and effect, right? One thing I'm guessing the opponents might want to cry about and bring up is like, oh, look at the coat hangers and horror stories and the back alley abortions that are going to happen. We don't live in 1960 anymore, okay? You can order Plan B faster than you get a fucking pizza, all right? So this myth of mass deaths in the alleys is outdated, right? What actually happens is just fewer abortions. So I'm going to give you an analogy to wrap this up here. Banning abortion is like locking a cookie jar, right? Does it stop every kid from getting their sneaky hand in there? No. But a hell of a lot fewer cookies are going to disappear. And that is, by definition, effectiveness. Lock it up. The numbers prove it. So the real question is simple. Are we arguing from data or Disney fairy tales, right? Because the data is blunt, ugly, and inconvenient for the other side. And so let's get right into it.
Thank you, Speakeasy. Soy to you, please.
Yeah, hi. So I am sympathetic to Speakeasy's argument. I think it is very obvious that if you make something illegal, there are going to be number droppage in some extent. But luckily, we aren't being defeated by a sillily worded prompt here that says, does abortion laws reduce the numbers by any amount? Because the answer is yes, obviously. The question is whether or not it's effective in actually reducing abortions. And if you look at the Guttmacher Institute study on how this works, first of all, if you compare just countries where abortion is illegal and legal, there's actually very similar rates of abortion, if not lower rates of abortion, because of access to contraceptive, which when controlled for is actually the thing that is reducing abortions because it leads to fewer unintended pregnancies. Now, what they can't account for, what they couldn't possibly, say like this is definitely the case, is what happens when you change abortion laws. So, for example, what happened when Roe v. Wade went away recently? And the answer is, in the short term, yeah, you're going to see a drop when you limit access. This is, of course, true if you were to say, hey, like, if we just disappeared all the guns in this state, gun crime would go down to some extent. But what you're going to see over time is that there are people who are getting access to this in other ways, whether that be illegally, whether that be by traveling to other states, whether that be by getting mail pills. People still get abortions. This is not, unfortunately, a effective way to reduce the abortions in the long term, and it doesn't even raise the birth rates necessarily. If you look at the University of Houston study of, I believe it was of Texas. So ultimately, it just seems like the best way to get rid of abortions, or at least reduce the number of abortions, is to increase access to contraception so people don't have unintended pregnancies. Because the laws, while in the short term might reduce the numbers a little bit, don't ultimately stop abortions. If anything, people are just going to get more abortions that are unsafe. And yeah, you can call me moral grandstanding, but if people are going to do it anyway, and it seems like that's what's going to happen, I'd rather they not die and get coat hangered. But as per Steelborn's point, 22,000 people say that they're happy, but I could win a debate against 22,000 children, so I don't see the point.
Thank you so much, Soy. Enemy Charlie, to you, please.
And not only did abortions in the United States increase, especially in states surrounding states with abortion bans, according to a study done by the University of Houston on post-ops fertility rates in Texas and California, abortion bans aren't even very effective in raising the fertility rate. There was a minor boost fertility rates in Texas in 2022, but those rates declined in 2023 because Texan women adjusted their fertility behavior by seeking out-of-state abortions or using a variety of methods to prevent pregnancy, such as abstinence or contraceptive use. As Soypil said, the only way to reliably decrease the rate of abortions is to ensure access to contraception, or by mandating gay sex only until someone is ready to have a child.
Fair enough. Thank you, Enemy Charlie. All right. So, a kind reminder to the audience, we will get through our debate. We will do our closing statements. Then we will read and respond to your super chats. And of course, as always, we will go into your favorite portion of the show, open panel dumpster fire. Lady and gentlemen, I leave the floor open to you.
Let's just get the red herring out of the way. We're not talking about fertility rates here. The argument is not about disbanding abortion, increase fertility rates. That has nothing to do with the debate. Totally a red herring, irrelevant, has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're talking about if you ban a behavior and make it much harder to access said behavior or said practice, does that necessarily decrease the practice? I would argue absolutely yes.
We
Any
we
other
proved
example,
that it
you would
did
agree.
not, because we
Yeah, like-
have the data, which we
Did
can
the
link
abortions
to
in
you.
Texas go down?
No, you didn't actually prove that, because using the national averages to prove the state laws don't work is like pointing
Yeah,
out
so
the
if you read-
U.S.
if you
weather
read the
report to
study
prove it
that
doesn't snow in
that we are
Minnesota,
linking to you,
right?
states
It doesn't make any
states
sense.
bordering states with abortion bans
Yeah.
had an increase in abortions.
That's a
So
good
again,
way
that
to
means that
avoid.
we agree with that.
That's a
They
good
are-
way to
Hold
avoid
on, hold on.
argument.
Let's
Talk what
reset
people
here.
thought.
Let's go one
They
at a
are
time.
leaving the state to have abortions.
So those
Certainly,
states should
yes,
ban it
in
too.
states with
So
abortion bans,
definitionally, it's
they are
effective
having
then?
less abortions. However, that is because women are leaving that state to have their abortions.
Are the
So you
people
have
in
not
Texas
decreased the amount
getting
of
abortions in
abortions
Texas?
in the U.S.
Did
There
it
is
decrease
still
the amount of
there is still a
abortions in
bunch of abortions
Texas?
happening. You haven't done anything.
Did it decrease the amount in Texas?
That's not the argument, buddy.
How about Florida?
It is, because again, when you point out the national average to prove that a state law doesn't work, it would be
Okay.
like pointing out the weather average to prove it doesn't snow in Minnesota.
Speakeasy,
It doesn't
you
make
gotta
any
understand
actual
the
sense.
point
You have
is
to go
it
state by
effective?
state.
If you
Yeah,
wanna
is it
argue,
effective?
would
Right.
it be effective insofar
If every
as
state did
if
it,
we had
where
a
would they go?
Hold
nationwide
on.
ban, I'm sure you'd see some significant reduction in the short term. But that's why we
Okay.
brought up that when you compare these countries where they don't have contraception, who also limit abortion, and I'm assuming you guys are not pro-contraception. Maybe you are, as Steelborn might be, but most people who make this argument for abortion are not pro-contraception. If you compare that to countries where they have even more restricted abortion access, we do actually see similar amounts of abortions. They're just not as legal. These people just get a lot of unintended pregnancies and then get abortions some other ways. And the problem is, yeah, you're going to see a drop immediately, but the demand is not disappearing because you're banning abortion. You're just making it harder for people to get them there. In the same way that if you ban
That's
guns
the
in a
whole
state,
point
yeah, of course,
effectiveness. That what
Do you
you're saying
think that
is
those
just
laws
saying
passed
that it is
because they
effective,
want
and then
abortions to
Yeah,
be
I have a question.
Hold on,
Can
hold on,
18-year-olds
hold on,
look
hold
at
on,
it
hold
and
on,
get
hold
their
on, hold on, guys. You're all talking over each
Yeah,
other, and
so what
I
you're
know
just
if I can't
saying-
understand, and you neither can the audience.
Do
Yeah,
18-year-olds
you're-
still get their hands on beer?
Yeah, all the time.
Isn't it illegal for them to have that? How do they do
Yeah.
it? I don't get it. So they violate the law and they do it anyways. This thing that they're not allowed to do, and if they're caught, they get
Yes.
punished for.
Okay.
So
would
we
you
should
say
just
that-
we
would
should
you
just
say
totally
that-
just like get rid of the drinking age, right? Because it's just not going to stop the 18-year-olds from getting beer, right?
Well, that's
I mean, I'm actually in favor of
not
lowering the drinking
abortion.
age, but that's
So,
a different conversation.
yeah.
The point is not that, hey, obviously this is going to deter some amount of people if you make it illegal. I think an interesting analogy that Speakeasy brought up is, yeah, if we made speeding, making speeding illegal doesn't stop people from speeding in the same way that, like, we shouldn't get rid of speeding laws, because that doesn't mean, like, it's not an argument to get rid of speeding laws, but there are ways that if you were to restrict speeding, say, hey, what if we made all speeding over 10 miles an hour illegal? You would not stop people from driving over 10 miles an hour. You would get some chunk of people who would follow this in certain places, but unfortunately the demand for driving faster than 10 miles per hour is high enough that you're not really going to significantly and effectively stop people from driving faster than 10 miles an hour. And it seems that there are other ways to alleviate this that aren't restrictive abortion laws, like the contraception thing.
Do you think the overwhelming majority of women who seek abortions are, going to expend thousands upon thousands of dollars and, suffer, at the very least, their civil freedoms just to kill their baby? I'm trying to understand like the premise here. Like,
So,
I think if you
yeah,
make
dude,
it harder
if
to
I-
access,
if-
they're not going to access it as much. Like, if we banned M&Ms in every state in the United States, do you think the number of M&Ms consumed in the U.S. would necessarily decrease by a massive amount because nobody's going to spend
All
a
right,
whole bunch of money?
stillborn. I don't know if you've ever drove to another state, but
Yeah, I have.
if I got pregnant right now and I lived in a state where abortion was illegal, I would take the time to drive across the border and go get
And if
an
every state
abortion
banned it?
because it's a lot cheaper. Well, I'd get one any way I could.
So you would just break the law. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Of
Yeah,
course,
you're
duh.
just saying like,
Duh,
holy shit.
I would.
man.
Yeah.
People
I
still
know.
steal
I don't
cars.
No.
Theft. We have theft laws.
easy.
Like what you guys are saying doesn't
No,
actually
no.
fit your argument.
No.
If it wasn't effective, nobody would be. There would be no change.
I don't
you
know
would
if
see
you
no
have the mental
change from the
capacity to
law.
understand what we're saying at all.
Oh,
Like, I don't know what
wait,
This
let me
is
break speaking.
data-
I'm
data
going to repeat
shows-
this.
Are you the
data
female
shows-
version?
Hold
of
up,
Joy
hold
Girl?
up, hold up,
Is that
hold
what
up,
you-
hold
It's
up,
all you
hold up.
guys do. Oh, you guys can't comprehend when you're
Just
back
can't
into a fucking
comprehend
porn.
the simple
Oh,
words
you
that
just
we're
can't
saying.
get it.
Well,
I'm too
Gilborn,
smart
I know you
for
can
you.
I mean,
comprehend.
brother,
It's
look
easy.
at
It's
you.
stupid.
Look at you.
All right, let's find a question and get there.
Okay, so I want to repeat this one last time. If you are making the argument that will the number of abortions reduce by any flat number if we banned it nationwide, the answer is obviously yes. The question is not
So you
will the
concede.
number go down. No,
That's great.
I knew you were going to say that, but you got to
Hold on,
wait
finish.
until I finish the thing that you're not capable of understanding.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it effective in getting rid of abortion? And that's why I brought up this Guttmacher study that compares countries.
So
with
if a law doesn't
incredibly
get rid of
restrictive
something, it's
and
not
Hold on, let him
effective?
finish. Let him finish.
So if you compare it to countries with incredibly restrictive abortion laws, you'll actually see that the abortion rate is very similar to how it is here, if not higher in certain cases, because the demand for abortion seems to go up with the amount of unintended pregnancies, which is not correlated to abortion laws. It's
So-
correlated to whether or not people are getting pregnant
All right.
when they don't want to. And that
To be
happens when there's a
clear,
lack
if
of
it
access
doesn't
to contraception.
completely hold 1 second. If it doesn't completely get rid of it, it's not effective. Is that your argument right now?
It's not just not getting
Yes.
completely rid of it. It's not even getting rid of
Yeah,
it to a point where
yes.
these rates are
Well-
significantly different from countries where they have abortion access. That's the problem. If not,
So
it's worse.
at
Michael, if
least,
I want
okay,
people
so
to
at
stop
least
using-
half of you are going to say have to concede right now. No laws are effective, right, Charlie?
What?
No laws are effective, right? You just said
got
it
your
doesn't
idea.
completely get rid of it.
Well,
the
we're
law
talking
isn't
about the
effective.
data, dude.
No, 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 no.
You're
Don't-
making a
don't backpedal
comparison
now.
that's inaccurate.
Speak easy. If we banned breathing, do you think it would get rid of breathing?
Yeah, that's just.
Well, no,
this-
I'm just
this is
asking.
a-
I mean,
this
do you think
pivot you're
if
trying to
we
do,
banned
no,
breathing,
thank
would
you.
it get rid of breathing?
No,
So it's
thank
just-
you.
that's a biological
Yes or
thing,
no?
obviously.
I'm not engaging with stupidity, right?
Well,
You're
hey,
just
dude,
trying
I
to-
am.
I don't
I'm
wanna
in this
engage
debate
You're
with
trying to
you.
save.
Yeah,
You're trying to
you're
save your
right.
partner
Reset,
now. from the-
reset,
from the-
reset. Ask
Sarah,
your
make him answer the
question,
question.
speak easy.
Yeah. So again, if the law doesn't completely get rid of something, is it effective or not?
What would you need to see for it to be effective? What percentage drop?
It just has to have a measurable decline.
Okay, what measurable? Everything is measurable. If it decreased abortions by 1, would that be enough?
Oh
Would you
my
call that
gosh.
effective?
Sorry.
If it decreased abortions by 1 more abortion didn't happen because of this law, would you say that's an effective law?
Well,
It's an
by
effective one.
definition, if it was in the where it was banned, yeah.
Yeah. So nationwide we banned abortion, and
You're the idiot that took the other
I'm
side.
asking.
I know
I'm
you're
asking-
talking
I'm
to me
asking
like
if you
I'm
consider
dumb,
this to
right?
be
You
effective.
Hold
took
on,
the
hold
other
on, hold
side.
on, hold on. Get to your point, Soy.
That's my point. My point is this effective? Because when I consider effective, I would say, hey, these restrictive laws seem to actually put them in similar rates of abortions as places with no restrictions, if not having worse numbers, which I would say this is not effective at all. You're not even reducing it to a significant degree. I would say
How
that's
would it
not
be
effective. But
worse
if the
numbers?
litmus test is does 1 fewer abortion happen, I mean, well, shit, I guess we should just have laws that do 1 of anything, because there's so many effective things we could be implementing.
Hold on, real quick. Soy Pill, do you think that if we
What is-
decriminalized battery, that more people would get punched in the face for saying stupid stuff?
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you guys think that
so
prohibition
that
was
allows-
effective?
even though people still punch people in the face for saying stupid stuff, that law that says you can't do that is effective in reducing.
Do you guys
that, or-
think that prohibition was effective? Because I would say that there's some things people.
Yes,
do in
yes.
certain
Just
aspects,
because
yeah.
illegal
It wasn't
shit
effective,
happened
bro.
doesn't mean it's
You got
not
rid of-
effective.
you got
Less
rid of-
people
in certain
drank.
areas, yes,
Prohibition.
prohibition.
All right, all
understand
right,
that?
all right, all right, all
Why do you
right.
think they got rid of
Moonshiners were going
prohibition?
crazy.
You're-
I'm
you're-
related to
you're-
moonshiners.
If you're gonna talk about effective based on your feelings, then maybe you can say it wasn't effective.
No, it's
effective by
based
numbers.
on
It reduced
reality.
people drinking. Yes. What are you talking about?
It also increased rates of people brewing their own alcohol and smuggling it.
Yeah,
saying
like,
illegal. So this is like saying we
There are
shouldn't have
moonshiners everywhere,
shouldn't
man.
have borders.
People make crack,
we should
right?
allow
I mean,
you
like,
to bring
So-
drugs across the border
people
because
make
people
crack.
still
You know that?
smuggle
They make
anyway.
their own crack. People do
So
that.
maybe we should ask the question: does it promote more illegal? In terms of, does it promote more illegal abortions?
It's gonna necessarily do that
necessarily.
because,
I mean,
like,
is it
let's
still
just say,
is it
hold on,
illegal
hold
to
on,
cross
hold
the
on.
border to get an
Right.
abortion? Because
Hold on a
then,
sec.
yeah, it would
If
be.
let's just
yes,
assume in a
that would
hypothetical,
be
President
increases
Trump.
illegal abortions.
Let's say President Trump just said it's illegal to wear blue shoes. Effective tomorrow, everybody tomorrow who wears blue shoes is now committing a crime. So necessarily, it's going to increase the number of illegal shoe wearing in the United States. So if you make something illegal, any time that that, so necessarily if you ban it, it's going to increase the illegal amount of abortions.
Yeah,
Because all of them would be illegal.
The
So
better question there, I agree with you, Steelborn. Like, just by making it illegal, you are going to increase illegal activity because the demand for abortion does not significantly decrease. So you would have to say, well, I guess, because I know Speakeasy's litmus is if one fewer person gets an abortion, then it is effective law. But my question would be, like, if you're, again, comparing this to prohibition, when we saw massive increases in illegal crime, brewing, like mob activity, and the reason why it was deemed ultimately a failure, and then we repealed it because it was like, hey, this is not doing the thing we wanted to do, which is to get people to stop drinking. This is just making it a big fucking hassle to deal with all these criminals. In the same way, I would call that not effective. I would say these abortion laws would not be effective.
well,
but
there's a massive distinction here that you're not accounting
do you
for.
have a better like definition of what you would call an effective law? Like
Well,
what
just
you would
real
need to
quick.
see to call it effective?
Real quick, I want to get this cleared up. There's a massive distinction between the consumption of alcohol in the United States versus abortion. Alcohol has been part of United States culture literally since the founding of the nation. You should look up the bar tab of the founding fathers.
So,
It was
Steelborn, I
ridiculous.
hate to break it to you, but people have been getting abortions since people were able to get pregnant. Abortion is.
Yes,
is
but it
something
wasn't
that
part of the
people have been
cultural
doing
identity.
since
Is it
the
part of the
cultural
cultural?
identity?
What is
It
the
was
cultural
something
identity
that
of
was-
America? That's
that
like,
was
oh,
You
I
ever
love
watched the beer
abortion.
commercials?
And
You ever seen all the
it was
American flags and
legal. It
eagles
was
and the
legal
hot
until,
chicks
like,
and
my
the buff
God, I think,
dudes?
like the early 1900s. It's fine. And I would
So
also
it
say
was
that
more-
drinking is actually not super American compared to many European countries. We are actually less about drinking. Like, my God, you could make the case that Germany is very much a country that's very pro drinking, especially Bavaria, But America, drinking, it's not like super integral to our national identity. But it's something
Also,
that people
commercials
do.
didn't
It's something
exist in the
people's always done.
1920s because there wasn't TV.
No, I didn't say
Um,
commercial. I didn't say. I'm
yeah.
saying like now, even now,
Yeah.
alcohol is still a massive part of American culture.
Not really.
So
Again,
are you
we
saying
actually
because
drink
it's
a lot less
ingrained in
than
the
other
culture,
countries.
banning it is not effective and wouldn't make sense? You don't think that it has some analogy? I know it's not the same because you don't see abortion ads, but there's a huge number of people. There's a big demand for people who want access to be able to terminate a pregnancy up to a certain point. It seems like this doesn't go away just by making it illegal. What
Do you
do
think
is
more people would advocate for that? They don't ban alcohol in the United States versus they don't ban abortion. Which one do you think more people in the United States would be prone to caring about, considering the fact that the overwhelming majority of the
probably
population
more
is blue
people
collar?
would be against banning alcohol than abortion. I would agree with that.
Right. So
But
that's
I would
why
also
say
say
it's much
that the
more
majority of
significant in the cultural
Americans
zeitgeist.
are pro-abortion. The majority of Americans are pro-abortion.
So I think the
That's why
question
abortion
there
bans-
is,
abortion bans in Ohio failed.
for Steelborn, I think in terms of what he was trying to, if I can translate, abortion was more frowned upon prior, like it was dark, dirty, taboo, secret, like you didn't talk about it, you didn't brag about it. Whereas now in American culture, like there are women who actually do brag about having an abortion, or they celebrate it. Or things
was
to
a
that
cultural
nature, and
taboo, yeah.
it's more open now. It's not as taboo. We're not morality wise like drawing in that way.
I mean, to be honest, it wasn't even that big of a moral thing, depending upon the time period you're referring to.
What are you
It was just
talking
kind of
about? What do you
something
think
that
the witch
people would
trials
do.
were about?
We're
What
kind
do
of
you think
like
what do you think the witches were actually burned at the stake for? They were performing abortions. That's what they were doing. That's why the
Yeah, but,
Catholic
like,
Church killed
This guy
them.
doesn't
this
believe
is
in
getting
witch
besides the point. Like, you can bring
You have
up
a
the
link for that?
alcohol
Hello?
prohibition. It significantly reduced drinking. You can bring
Actually,
up
it
all this
increased
other
binge
shit you
drinking.
want. All you're saying is criminals are
Prohibition
going to take
increased binge
advantage of the
drinking.
market.
I just want to point out how
That's all
ironic
you're
it is. Their
saying.
name is literally Speakeasy, and you just don't know anything about how prohibition was a total failure.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay. So
Also,
that was
I'm
a
not gonna lie, dude. I
great
think you have
argument,
some-
bro.
I know
Great
you have
argument.
like a tongue piercing, but it does make you slightly difficult to understand. So can you enunciate more because you're mumbling? I don't know
Yeah,
if you
you
could, like,
guys,
take it
you
out.
guys are so these are great arguments you guys have. Great
No, I'm
argument.
not arguing with you. I'm telling you that I'm literally having trouble.
Yeah, can you go put a fucking mask on since you're so fucking ugly? It bothers my eyes, please.
No one has ever
my
said
God.
you
All
have
right,
a
reset,
jaw.
You
reset.
got a man's jaw.
All right,
No
can we
one-
talk
like
about
a transgender woman?
children?
Can you go put a
Okay.
mask
That's enough.
on, please?
Can we get back to? Excuse me.
You heard that though, huh? You heard that though, huh?
All right, that's enough. That's enough. Let's get back to the actual conversation. It's fun, but let's get back to the discussion. I don't know if you want to go back to the data or in terms of the culture or the prohibition, whichever direction. Somebody is stillborn. Why don't you send something out?
Yeah. Can I legally own a person in the United States?
No.
Is that because we banned slavery?
Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not for a while, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's
You got
what
me, dude.
Juneteenth is about. They had to, go in.
Yeah, so again, the point is not that all laws are ineffective. The point is that we've seen in places where they implement specifically laws for this specific thing, and this is the reason I brought up the breathing thing, which is absurd, right? Like, obviously, you would never be able to ban breathing, but if you were to ban breathing, almost no one would stop. Maybe some people would commit like ritual suicide to make it not happen. But the point is that if there's a high demand for something, obviously abortion demand is not as high as breathing demand, you're not able to stop it completely. If not, you're now forcing people to do it in illegal ways, and it's not effective in actually stopping it in the way that you want to.
Can't physically live without doing.
Real quick, Soy Pill, I just have a question. Do you think that if we
you understand
banned
this doesn't fit here, right?
Yeah, it is disanalogous, but I understand the point he's trying to make. If you banned abortion, do you
one.
think there would be 1.5 million illegal abortions in the United States if there was a federal ban?
I don't know the number of abortions off the top of my head. Isn't it like
1.5 million?
Isn't it more than that? I thought it was like 2 or 3 or something like that.
No, it's 1.5.
Everyone keeps telling me 2 million black babies died every year, so I don't know. But
That might be worldwide. I don't know.
Maybe that's the case. No, I don't. Obviously, the number would go down, and that's why I asked Speakeasy.
So then then illegal abortions wouldn't. Then the number of abortions would most definitely go down.
By some margin, but the point is, what is effective in actually reducing it? Is it going down by 1? Is it going down by 10%?
Do I think that if
it went down, look here, I'll say this: if abortions
totally
decreased by 75% or 50%, I would say this is a pretty effective law. But the problem is, again, this is why we brought up these other countries. Like here, I'll read this quote from the Guttmacher Institute thing. So if you look at the aggregate of like abortions performed in countries where it's broadly illegal, there are between 36 and 47 annually per 1,000 women, ages 15 to 49, ages where they're pregnant. That's not like a cherry-picked age range. And in the countries where it's prohibited altogether, it's about 31 and 51 abortions per 1,000 women. And it's like, okay, so when you ban completely abortion versus where it's got some sort of like broadly legal status, it's pretty similar, if not even more in certain cases.
Well, because there's a problem with that study, and here's the problem: is they're taking countries like Poland, which is basically effectively pretty much banned abortion, except for in the three what's the word I'm looking for here? 3 exceptions that the pro-lifers always try and offer. It's like, what if we made
rape,
these exceptions?
And,
like
those
3 exceptions. The problem is Poland, if you know anything about Europe, you can drive to another country faster than you can drive to another state in the US. I think Alaska pretty much just entirely encompasses all of Europe if you exclude Russia. So the problem is they say, well, it doesn't really lower the number. That's because people from Poland just drive to another country, which is 20 minutes down the road.
Okay, wait, hold on.
It's actually much easier to do that in a country like Europe than it is.
I'll concede this if you think this is a concession at all. It is that if every single if the world government had control of every single region on the entire planet, and they'd say, hey, we'll kill you if you perform or get an abortion, I think there would be a pretty effective drop there. But the problem is we live in a multifaceted world with many different rules. There's different states, there's different countries, there's different methods for people to do this. And I don't think you're going to see an effective drop-off of abortions unless there was some fascist crazy regime that was able to implement this literally worldwide, which I think you agree is impossible. And this is why in the same breath I say that banning all guns would be completely ineffective, because it breaks down to a states' right issue. At a certain point, you're going to have states that say, fuck no, we're not going to implement this at all. And you're going to have states like California that hop fully on board, but you're not going to see a significant drop in gun crime because you're going to have people traveling across state lines with guns. This is if you want to say if it was everywhere, yeah, probably that would
just
be
the United States. Let's start there.
If you had a
What?
nationwide ban, would you have an even more significant drop? I don't know what the drop would be if you banned it in every single state, but I think what you're still seeing now is that there's a lot of illegal abortions and there's a lot of people getting these pill ships. So it's even easier now to subvert that law altogether. I think what you're going to see is a lot of more people dying when they get these procedures, which I don't want to happen. But it would drop, I think, a more significant percentage if you were able to implement a nationwide ban.
Yeah, I think all pro-lifers would be totally
see it
okay
bounce
with the
back,
women who want to go
just
and
like
kill
we
their
saw
babies
with the
dying in
fertility
hospital. I
rates.
don't
With the
think they care.
fertility rates, oh
You're
my God,
both
shut up.
talking.
With fertility rates in
Didn't bring up
red
fertility
states,
rates.
while there was shut the fuck up, while there was a mild increase, we then saw them go back to declining. So again, that is because the women of Texas adjusted their fertility behavior to either, use contraceptives more carefully, abstinence, or going out of state for abortions. So again, while there would probably be like a short-term immediate bump, or I guess reduction in abortion rates, American women would adjust their fertility behavior to, have access to abortions in some capacity.
And I'm saying that if it was banned federally, do you think there would be a whole bunch, there'd be even close to the number of legal abortions that we currently have as compared to the illegal that would be happening if it was federally banned?
You mean like with the legal number match? This is
Would it be-
illegal
would it even
number
be
match the
close?
current legal number. I think you'd see pretty similar rates as per the study I
Yeah.
read. Yeah.
Do you think you'd
I
see
think there would be a
1.5
good
million
drop off, by the
illegal
way.
abortions in the
Obviously,
United
like way more than the drop off in Texas, you would see a significant, especially because like don't get me wrong, like I'm not going to make some inconsistent argument. I'm someone who says voter ID is a restrictive thing because if people don't have the ability to drive to their municipality because it's 3, 4, 5 hours away, maybe they don't have a car, it is going to be harder. And you would see a significant drop off of people in middle America who might not have access to any of these illegal methods, be it like, pills that are easily shipped into places with like bigger port cities, people who can travel over the border to Mexico or Canada, get an abortion, or like you said in Poland, there is going to be a bigger drop off the harder and harder and harder you make it. But the question is whether or not it's effective, because what is happening here and the ultimate through line and why I don't want to do this, even if you truly believe it's killing babies, is that unless you are super advocating for some sort of contraceptive to prevent these unintended pregnancies, the demand doesn't go down. And while you are going to get, some drop off in people having abortions, what is going to happen is a lot of people are going to have illegal and harmful abortions, which is just causing more problems than I think both of us don't want. And if you'll allow me to read this, we found that in countries where abortion is legal and available to women on request, 9 out of 10 abortions happen safely. But if you look at the countries where abortions are most restricted, then only 1 out of 4 of those happen safely. So 3 out of every 4 abortions are going to be like some horrible, awful thing that happened. And I don't know if the number is significantly dropping off to the point based on the rates of all these countries where it seems to not really restrict it that all that much, unless it was worldwide.
But that's never going to happen. So we should operate in reality. And the reality that we're dealing with now is one in the US where abortion is a matter of states' rights.
Like when you bring up that it doesn't change demand, right? That women will seek abortions regardless. Regardless, demands are obviously going to persist, but it's the supply that's constrained, and that's how you get the effective, measurable outcome, right? That you bring up gun laws, you're right. You couldn't really make gun laws effective because the supply is what needs to be cut off, and cutting off the supply in a world of 3D printers and all this, it's next to impossible, right? But like anti-abortion laws that would stop you being able to ship pills through the mail, that we would have punishment for these things as well. These would be effective ways to stop abortion.
Again, like
you bringing
how
up,
you
well,
measuring
women are going to
effective,
correct their fertility behavior by using contraception. Cool.
It's also
At
a
least
lot easier
kids aren't
to smuggle
dying.
pills than it
Women
is
not
to
getting pregnant versus
drugs.
kids dying. I'll take the women not getting
And
pregnant.
it's a lot
To be
harder
clear,
to prove
fuck?
if someone
Hold
has
on.
used birth control or has used, like a medical abortion, which is using the pill. It's hard to prove that they did that. They would just have a miscarriage. So again, it would be super duper easy to smuggle.
Why is it hard to
abortion
send
pills.
drugs through the mail?
I don't think it's that hard to send drugs.
It's not that
You
hard.
don't think it's that hard?
No,
Right
no,
up.
Like
it's
the
not
whole
that
Silk
hard.
Road
Especially, I would say, even especially like a pill that's not like marijuana that dogs are, taught
they
to
can't
sniff
sniff
out.
it.
It would be very. I would find that to be very
unless they're opening
difficult.
literally everyone's mail.
No, because you would have a system that stops pills from being sent through the mail, to citizens.
You just shut
homes.
down the company.
It's not.
Well, realistically
It's illegal.
speaking,
It's
hold
not
on.
illegal.
Let's have some clarification here, because you can get prescriptions via mail. I know Amazon even is doing it now. But there's a lot of pharmaceuticals where you can get it via USPS or even delivered to you, door-to-door services, so on and so forth. So I don't know if that would be a realistic approach, saying like just shut all of it down.
To be fair, if Speakeasy has developed a magic abortion pill detector, my dad is a patent lawyer, and I would like to hear about it.
Yeah, I bet you would.
You can also buy like health products from
like
other
you make
countries
it like it
that
would be
are
hard
that are,
to
like, shipped
X-ray
over to you.
the
So
mail
again,
to
it
see
wouldn't
what's
be that
inside of
hard
it.
to ship some shit over.
Wait,
like,
wait, no,
it really
wait,
would
Charlie,
not
I do
be-
wanna
It's
hear-
legal.
Busted
Hold
in the
on,
mail
hold on, hold
all
on.
the time. Like you can't even send
I
certain
flew with
liquids
pills.
through
I
the mail. Like
flew
you
with
guys,
pills and
this is
shipped
just
pills to the UK when I lived there, and I shipped
acting
them
like the
back and
mail
forth, and
can't
I
be
flew with them, and
monitored
it was
is
fine.
ridiculous.
It
No,
was
it's
super duper
Speakeasy.
fine.
What we're saying is, unless you ban all pills, which is, I assume, not what your solution is, an X-raying and determining whether or not this pill is an abortion pill or a Tums or a Febreze or what's the airborne or whatever. Like, could you explain like exactly how we're detecting whether or not this is was it mifepristone or what is it actually called?
Oh, I
How
can't
do they
remember. It does
determine
start with an
if they have a suspicion about something illegal in the mail? How do they determine if it is that said thing?
Well, first, how did they have
Soy
the
pill,
suspicion
answer
in
the
first place?
question. Don't
Well,
ask
we
me a
have to take a
question.
step
Answer
back.
it.
How did they know? How did they have the suspicion?
They scanned it and something looks off.
What looks off about it?
See, you don't want to answer the question.
No,
Are
I'm
you
just
gonna do
curious how they
anything to
detected.
avoid
Where did the
fucking
suspicion
question?
come from?
You avoid questions like you avoid
No, I'll get to the
laundry. wearing
question. You
that
just have
same
to. I
shirt
want to
for
make
the
sure we're
last
on the
6
same
fucking months.
hypothetical. Like we actually get into
Holy
the
fuck,
hypothetical, right?
dude.
Like, how did they have the suspicion? Because I think
Yeah,
you're kind
like,
of
what are they
letting that carry all the
suspecting?
weight of your hypothetical.
They'd have to get a warrant, right, to go through mail.
Well, you would have to have reasonable suspicion too, or
Yeah.
I mean, even check marking if it's liquids, this, that, or another, batteries, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But again, pharmaceuticals are shipped left, right, center all day, every day, and that would be a very hard thing. I mean, I could literally slip any type of pills into an envelope right now,
My
and
friend
unless
had a burrito
there's
once, so you just slip it in there.
Well, those pills are being manufactured by a drug company, right?
Not necessarily, and that was actually the point I was going to get to, is that you
This
say,
is
well, once we
crazy.
made it
So,
illegal,
like, just to be
that we're-
clear,
well, hold on.
you think the
Speak-
mailing
hold on,
the
listen,
mailing
I'm sorry.
service
Listen,
would have a
let's be
suspicion
clear.
of a bomb, and they would say, "Wait, let's get a warrant before we make sure." Are you guys actually fucking insane? What are you talking about?
Oh, wait, okay, so
I mean, a
They
suspicion of
they
a bomb
wouldn't
is
need
different,
a,
but
to
a
be
pill
clear,
is not a
Speakeasy, they
bomb.
detected bomb
fucking
residue
warrant
on
to
this
look into
pill
the mail
envelope,
of
and that's why
something
they opened
illegal
it
in
up. Is
there. Are
that
you
how they
guys
identified
insane?
whether or not it was an
What the fuck are
abortion
we
pill?
talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a bigger. I think they have other detections, right, to go through like liquids,
bombs.
bombs, and even at that, like
How
pills,
do they
like
train
even
dogs
if
to
you.
sniff cocaine? To find that, how do they do that?
Well,
How do they
cocaine
train
has
them
a
too? Because they
distinct scent, I'm
specifically are like
certain, but
sniffing out
like
cocaine. I don't think
I
abortion
you
know.
can
pills
Couldn't
sniff
you
out
do
really
the
have
exact same
mifepristone.
thing
distinct.
for the abortion pills?
No, I
can't
don't
remember
think
the name of it.
They don't
mifepristone
have
has
a
a chemical that
distinct
dogs can
scent, man.
distinguish from any other thing that is going to be mailed. That's kind of the point. And again, this is not going to be like the mifepristone factory in America or even like in another country where it's illegal to manufacture. What you'll see is like when people understand basic chemistry, they're able to manufacture these things in the same way. Like, hey, some doctors right now are facing 99-year life sentences for performing abortion. And in the past, when abortion was still very restricted, there were very, very, very heavy punishments on these doctors. And yet you say, oh, the supply, if we eliminate it, it doesn't matter what happens to demand. Well, the supply doesn't go away either. There's plenty of people, more than half the country, that are okay with abortions and are okay with doing it illegally and performing it for these women because they think this is okay and I'm not okay with it getting banned.
Until
And
they
so the
start getting
supply
arrested for
doesn't
it.
really go away nearly as much in an effective manner just by banning it. That's kind of.
Do you think that there are plenty of doctors who think
where
this
everyone was turning, where everyone
Hold
was
on, I
looking
can't
the
hear
other
any
way.
of. I can't hear any of you.
When prohibition
question
was
for
in
Soy Pill.
place, the majority of officials were looking away because they wanted to drink too. Like, this is not like abortion is so popular and so commonplace. Like, this would be like banning.
I know it's so
ibuprofen.
popular. It's just why it got
people would be
overturned
like, what the
federally.
fuck?
Like banning ibuprofen. You're insane.
It would be.
It would be as
Soy Pill,
difficult as banning
Soy Pill, do you think
ibuprofen.
there
It's
are
It
obviously
would
not
be as
possible.
difficult as banning ibuprofen. Like, I
Sorry,
hate to break
hold
it
on,
to you guys,
Stillborn's
but a lot of
asking a
those dudes, a lot of those politicians that pay all this lip service to being like, oh, I hate abortion, their mistresses and their daughters are getting abortions, dude.
Yeah, nice liberal
Oh,
talk.
good,
it's the idiot
good
minority.
argument.
It's the idiot minority that
Yeah,
thinks
go
that
ahead,
it's
I
like
approve it.
it's like a popular position to hate abortion, that people don't seek them out even if they claim to hate it. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
What was your question?
Stillborn, you had a
Anyways,
question?
Yeah, I did. Soy Pill, do you think that there are certain doctors that are okay with assisted suicide and that they would be morally they would feel morally justified in helping their patients with that?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Do you think there's a lot of doctors who don't do that because if they got caught, they'd go to prison for murder?
I think the argument would be whether or not there's an effective number of doctors that are prevented from doing this by making it illegal. And I don't know. I haven't looked into the stats on that at all.
I'm just
but
asking,
probably.
just based on your intuition, do you think that if they knew for a fact that if they were to get caught, they would go to prison?
I think there'd be significantly more than the abortion law because it's a lot harder to hide that you did an abortion, or easier to hide that you did an abortion than it is to kill a person and then hide the body. Yeah.
Right. Like, what the fuck? Like, how easy do you guys think it is to kill someone and hide a body? An abortion,
hide a body. Do you not know what assisted
medical
suicide
abortions are, you cannot trace that shit. You just show up and you say that you had a miscarriage, and that's that. Like, again, it's very different. I don't know if you guys know how big a fucking
abortion
fetus
the doctor's
is.
not going to pull out because you had a miscarriage.
What?
I said there in an early, especially if it's an early term, there are medical tools for a surgical abortion that the doctor's gonna have to pull out, and they're gonna have to like write all that down in their report that they had to pull all these special tools out to perform the surgery.
Early
they
term
wouldn't
abortions
write in the
are
report
not
that they did an
surgical.
illegal
I
abortion.
said there are.
Dude.
Well, there are,
That's
depending
They're
on
not.
how early
There's
depending on
early
how
term
early we're
abortions are
talking
not
about.
surgical.
Okay,
They're
can
medical.
can we all stop talking over each other? It really is very scattery in the headset. So I know if I can't understand what you're saying, the audience can't either, and it's just all chiming together. I'm sure you all have great points, and I'd love to hear them, and I'm sure the audience would too, but you have to take your turns. Okay, back to you.
Yeah, how early are we talking for when do you think a surgical abortion begins?
Typically around like 3 months is when I think let me double check, but I think the like as far along as you can have medical abortions is something like 3 months.
What do you mean when you say medical abortion? I'm just trying to understand what
medical abortion. Are you having this argument without knowing the difference between?
No, I was saying I'm talking about surgical, and then you said medical. I want to understand.
Yeah, medical is about the pill. A medical abortion is the pill abortion.
Okay.
Surgical is when you go into the cooter.
Yeah, they have to do that as soon as the spine's formed, right?
No, it's about up to 10 to 11 weeks, so about 2 months. Again, which is when
do most women find out that they're pregnant? I'm sorry, what was that
abortions
number?
are occurring. Most people who are far along enough to have a surgical abortion actually want the kid that they're trying to have, and so again,
But when do most people find out that they're
in
pregnant?
the modern era, usually within the month, but it's pretty quick to get an abortion. Depending on where you live. I guess if you live in a rural area, it can be more difficult, but you can get one fairly quickly.
Remember, I always hear from you progressives is that people don't find out that they're pregnant until like 8 to 12 weeks. Usually, that's when they don't find out because they just think they missed their period.
That's not.
Okay. Well,
I
neither of us
promise
are saying
you,
that.
people
That's why I was
figure out
asking what your
usually
position
a
is.
lot earlier. It's not 8 to 12 because I promise you that the things happening to your body would.
When can they confirm that they're pregnant?
Extremely obvious. The earliest you can confirm that you're pregnant that I know of is like 2 weeks. However, wait. That would be because 2 weeks, they start dating it based on when your last period was supposed to start, essentially. And then it's 2 weeks after that.
You can take a pregnancy test, but those have
no, pregnancy tests won't detect that early. You would have to go get a blood test.
Typically, as early as missing your first period, you can go piss on a stick, and essentially, if it's like the first day of your missed period and you haven't had it, you should be capable of pissing on a stick and it's showing up as positive. Usually, it depends on the hormones. I think it's HCG.
For HCG, yeah, it depends on your HCG level. But they can't
yes.
actually confirm that you're pregnant until about 8 weeks when they can do an ultrasound.
No, they can do a blood test.
They can
Well, they can do a blood
You
test,
can
true, but that just
confirm a
confirms
blood test.
HCG levels. That's all it does.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yeah,
and then you can still
same thing the
receive
pregnancy
an
test
abortion.
does, just monitors HCG levels.
You can still receive an abortion.
I'm aware that you can receive an abortion, but considering the fact that most people can't confirm that they're pregnant until about 8 weeks, all they can confirm is that they're producing HCG, which can be caused by a bunch of different things.
I would say that that's
the point
inaccurate.
is most people aren't waiting to get abortions until after the ultrasound.
I think I know some states vary, and just maybe for clarification purposes of the conversation, like Maryland here, before you get an abortion, you have to have an ultrasound. They actually put you through this whole procedure to promote pro-life in aspect. So you have to see the sonogram, you have to see the baby, you have to hear the heartbeat, and then they provide you with all of these different options besides just getting an abortion. So like some states have different requirements, if that helps.
Okay, someone just linked me some CDC information, but let me see. It's
Are
about.
you pulling up stats from your chat during the debate?
Why not?
Someone linked me a CDC report on when abortions take place.
That's great.
Isn't
I'm
that-
arguing with you guys, not ChatGPT, not the CD, or not whatever your chats are saying. I'm not arguing with your chat. I'm arguing with you. That's the fucking
Well, I
bad
think
face
it's
shit
good
I've
to
ever
get.
heard ever.
If someone
What's wrong
sends
with you
me
people?
statistics, I think that that's fine.
I'd read
If
your
someone
study if you
shows
show
me,
me it's stillborn. I mean,
I don't
I'm happy
like.
to
I don't
provide
know.
a study.
Isn't
but
it better
only
for us
upon
to like
request.
have
I'm not-
like
somebody send me this here. Let me pull it up for you. That way, you're not just arguing with me. You're arguing with all the people in the chat as well.
it's just
Okay,
a
well, I
fact.
don't know
It's not
what
an
you want me
argument.
to say, man. Like, I don't. Soy Pill and I are both streamers. People are gonna link shit and talk to us throughout the debate. Like, if you do stream, that does kind of happen. I don't know what to tell you, man.
I'm aware of how that works. That doesn't mean you
Yeah,
have to be
but you also had the
I
will
mean, do you
to
want me to
choose
type
to
it
use
into
it, that's
Google?
all.
Do you want me to type it into
Just
Google?
admit you need help and move
I
on.
think
Yeah,
it's.
Shut
I
up.
think
Like,
it's.
you're just
Hold
getting outside
on,
help.
hold
That's
on,
bullshit.
hold on, children. Now,
they
come
are
on. I
very
think Charlie. I think it's just deemed as bad faith. I know some other people, not necessarily here, but other big debaters have utilized stuff that their chat provides to them, and a lot of people call that out as bad faith. I am not. I'm kind of impartial to it, whether in either direction. But I think the notion is you should be getting those studies in advance and pulling all of this data in advance for these
Well,
types
to be
of
clear,
things or
Sarah, he
whatever.
had asked
Yeah,
about
like
when the
prepare your
majority of
arguments
abortions
instead of
happen, and
depending
then her
on your
chat
chat.
had
and
to
we
link
didn't
something
know,
that she had already
so-
been Googling. This wasn't like, oh, I didn't know have an argument for that, but now I found one because it was in my chat.
That's
This was-
literally
Yeah,
If it
what
was a
just
case
happened.
of I don't
listen,
know,
we
I
have-
can look it up. That's
We
different than
have
saying
the
only my
we
chat
have
sent
the
me something.
internet. We have the. I don't understand. We have access
You're
to
not
all
when
this
you're arguing
knowledge.
with me. You're
Why
not
would
arguing
we
with Google.
argue
You're not
about
arguing with
vibes?
You're
ChatGPT.
not
You're
Why
arguing
don't you
literally
about
fucking
an
just
use that
argument. You just
access to
linked
get
the
it
thing that
yourself?
you asked because you didn't have the stat yourself.
Like, I don't
It's-
understand,
Wow,
man.
man.
We can just, if we have a question, we can just look it up.
The thing is, this point you've been making for the last like 20 minutes has no fucking bearing and no weight for your side of the argument. So I don't know even why you've been making these arguments.
Well, he asked a question.
Do you
I
even
wanted to
remember the
answer.
prompt of the debate, Mrs. I'm too smart for everybody? What's the
To be fair,
prompt?
she just called you
obviously, it's
stupid,
at the
which is
top,
much
dude.
more clear than how smart she is. So,
Yeah, she
Yeah.
said you guys can't comprehend this.
which
But
you have
I'm
demonstrated.
glad you're
once and
listening,
again
Soy
that you
Pill.
have not.
I'm glad you're
not
listening, buddy.
understood.
All right.
I do steal
Glad you're
screens.
listening. Go watch
Soy,
that
why
shit
don't you
yourself.
throw out?
Easy.
Pardon me, Soy. Why don't you throw out another thought for us, please, so we can move on.
A whole different thought. I don't know. I mean, they
Or
still haven't really
something.
contended with our whole point, which is it seems like this demand isn't going away and the supply isn't going down significantly. But it's really hard to have the argument if you're not going to give a criteria for what is an effective decrease in abortions. I mean, again, I would concede that if you were able to completely eliminate abortion somehow with these like draconian laws across the entire United States, which I think can realistically say won't happen, but you were able to reduce abortions by 50%, I would call that effective. Now, I don't think that's what's going to happen because one, there aren't going to be these like federal bans, and two, even if they are happening, a bunch of these states are not going to comply. So you have to contend with the fact that in doing these abortion bans, like Texas is doing, you're not actually getting the outcome that you want. And if they were to come on board and say, look, I think we should do a federal abortion ban and unlimited access to like birth control and contraception, I think that actually would work and that would be an effective thing. But the caveat there being that you wouldn't necessarily have to tie the access to contraception to that. What I think that is what the stats bear out.
Here, you keep saying I don't know what an effective means. Okay, I'll try this again. Right, it's a restriction on the abortion that produces a measurable decline in the numbers of abortions performed within that jurisdiction. All right, compared with the level of abortions performed before said restriction. Okay, so all this other shit you're bringing up doesn't fucking matter. We're talking about what happens when you ban it. You can say, oh, they're going to go to another country. You think everybody's rich enough to go to another country? What are you talking about?
So again, if you're saying what's the effective number that's decreasing, And if your
I
answer
didn't give
is
you a fucking
any
number.
measurable number,
In one ear, out the
then
other, bro. Do your little hat, bro. Flick it. It'll
so
help your
again,
brain work.
if your metric for effective is literally any number is decreasing, I think that's incredibly conservative to say, well, if it goes down by 1, then it's effective. And if you look again, prohibition, reducing the number of people that drank, yeah, of course. But would anyone argue this was effective? No, because clearly that's the reason they repealed it. It did not have the intended effect of reducing alcohol consumption. So
All right,
my
I'll just
question to
grant
you
all
is,
this. I have a question for you real quick.
Sure.
Let's just say that we banned it federally, right? And there was like 500,000 illegal abortions. Is that effective now?
If it reduced it by 66%, I would say that's effective. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what's happened at all.
But yeah.
Well, how would we know? You haven't federally banned abortion in the United States. It's not the same as Europe, where a country is the size of a state.
We're arguing about America right now, and we're talking about what has happened in our
and it was 22,000 more live births than expected.
Okay, and those rates are going to go down as they continue to go down. As they continue to go down now. So while there was a little bump in the beginning when abortion was banned in specific states, that fertility rate is still going down.
I'm not arguing fertility rate. I'm just saying
again,
more
22,000 live births this year. Next year, less.
The more babies born,
it goes down nationally. That's not the same thing. It doesn't go down.
No. It did. So if you looked at any of the links that I linked in the beginning, you would see that yes, in states with abortion bans, while there was a mild uptick after the bans were put in place, they did start to decline.
It's national rate.
The year after. No, it's states with bans. If you look at the University of Houston study, Texas had a couple of percentages of fertility increase, and then the next year it started to go down. So again, this is where we're at. They go down.
Agree that there's other factors other than just the limiting of abortion that would.
Of course, yeah, for sure. Right? But again, it doesn't.
You can't keep bringing out the 22,000 number and be like, well, that's the abortion thing. And then clearly, when we look at the studies of directly controlling for these abortion laws and showing, hey, this is not the thing that is causing births to go skyrocket. It's kind of.
I'm not even saying it's causing births to skyrocket. I'm not saying my claim isn't that it's causing births to skyrocket. It's that there's 22,000 babies now that were born because they weren't aborted in the states that had abortion.
You don't actually know that though.
Well, I thought you just said there are other effects.
Like, what do you mean?
They track the states that banned it. Abortion. You can't hold us to that standard with you don't know if it was blah 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 blah. If it was related to abortion. And
they
then
tracked the 14 states that banned it in the United States, and there was 22,000 more live births than they anticipated.
And now those fertility rates are declining. So,
that's great.
So
that doesn't mean that those babies are being aborted. What the fuck's wrong with you? That does not logically follow.
Stillborn, you got to understand. You would have to establish
that because of the abortion ban that those kids were born. If we want to play stupid games.
No, Stillborn, you would have to establish that these people have births that said, I would have aborted my baby, but because it was illegal, I did not, and that is why there is a baby now. That is the only way that this stat at all is supporting your argument.
Are there any surveys out there showing this by chance? Did anybody pull anything like that?
No, all we have are the stats on fertility rates in Texas and California in 2022, 2023. So again, in Texas, we see the rates go up a little bit in 2022, and then they also start to decline. Not at the same rate as California, but they're declining. We also have the stats on, again, abortions in states bordering states with abortion bans. Those rates went up, which obviously we can assume that some of that was because of, bans in surrounding states. So people leaving the state to get abortions. And then we do, know that abortion bans in countries with complete abortion bans don't actually lead to less abortions, just unsafe abortions.
The fertility rate was higher than expected in the 14 states with abortion bans for the following groups: racial minorities, including non-Hispanic, Black, Hispanic, other races and ethnicities, about 2% higher than expected. Unmarried individuals, 1.8% higher than expected. Younger individuals, aged under 35, 2% higher than expected. Medicaid beneficiaries, 2%.
Is this all the immediate after the ban? Because if so, this is exactly what she was talking about.
No, this was
this is the study she sent. Why don't you just shut up for a second?
No, this isn't the study that I sent.
Well, it actually says the same thing.
Okay, let's just let Stillborn finish. Nobody let him finish.
Okay, well, I would like to go after him.
Yeah, additionally, the impact in southern states was approximately 2 times higher than non-southern states. Quote from Dr. Suzanne Bell, PhD, from the Bloomberg School's Department of Population: These findings indicate that many pregnant people were unable to overcome barriers to access abortion services. Seems like they didn't get fucking abortions and then they had babies. Isn't that crazy?
So since 2022 and post-ops, fertility rates in banned states declined 2% versus 3% in ban-free states. Post-ops, the public seems to have adjusted its fertility behavior in recognition of the transformed scene. Adjustments include multiple factors. Many women in banned states access abortion in other states or through self-managed abortions at home.
Is the prompt that banning abortion will increase fertility rate, or is it that the abortions will go down, which is what we're arguing?
Well, the abortions did minimally go down, but now they're, continuing to go up in surrounding states. So again, this would indicate that women are leaving the state to have abortions.
Not
These
abortions
in the United States people were unable to overcome barriers to access
with the
abortion.
ban. Your original argument, it was with the state with the ban.
Absolutely, for sure. But
backpedal now, though.
Initially said that, and then I said in 2023 the fertility rates declined, indicating that based on the study that I linked by the University of Houston, women were leaving the state to get abortions.
That doesn't logically follow because the fertility rate went down. They were going to get abortions. That does not logically follow.
That the fertility, okay, so if there's less children being born, we can determine that people are either not having sex or they are getting abortions or they're using contraception. And this study does indicate that, people leaving the state to get abortions was a part of that, loss of fertility.
We're not even arguing that that's not even part of the case. But you're just asserting that that's the entirety of what happened. Is that the only reason the fertility rate went down is because people went to other states.
No, that's
not at all what I said at all. You had listened to the words out of my mouth.
All right.
I can help you out here because you read this out loud, and I'll read it out loud for you one more time. So adjustments. So this is the things that the people in the study looked at. Adjustments include multiple factors. Many women in banned states accessed abortions in other states or through self-managed abortions at home. Greater vigilance around contraception. Increases in permanent contraception through tubal litigation of vasectomy, refraining from sex, moving out of banned states to avoid these issues. Some who would like to be pregnant are choosing not to due to the fear that if they have complications, doctors will not be able to render aid. So there's all these different factors that are into it that are considered by that study. It's not just, it's the fertility rate and we're basing it entirely off the fertility rate. They looked at all of these things. That's the point.
Right, which is what I said.
Yeah, so
I know,
you're
I'm
saying that
just
they either got contraceptions or they just stopped having sex. So they did other things rather than killing babies.
Well, to be clear,
so
one
they
of those
changed their
factors
behavior
was
because abortion was banned?
self-managed abortions.
I think the fact that it changes their behavior should show you it's effective.
Also stillborn, not all of the extra babies born were born because those women could not get abortion. How many of those babies can you determine were born because those women could not access abortion? Can you prove that? Because otherwise we are kind of
how do you determine at-home abortions were done? How do you determine that? They just
surveys
said it?
And studies.
They just told you?
They just said it?
Oh, so it could be a bunch of lying bitches on there to fuck their study up. Good.
Well, I guess these, like people that dedicate their life to making this data did not consider the lying bitch phenomenon.
You can use self-reporting studies, and we're using the math in the state that the ban happened. Abortion went down.
Texas,
right? The math speakeasy. Did you consider that those scientists could be lying bitches? Did you consider that?
I guess you know what.
Did
maybe
I
didn't consider that
you
they could
moron?
be.
I don't know. Well, how do we know? How can we believe these scientists?
I never considered that women are naturally inclined to lie because they are devious whores, and that's why Eve ate the apple. Never considered
just straw man every part of the position, or it was the fact that there are many feminists.
Every time you guys get
you never considered that those are lying bitches. You never considered that those are lying bitches.
You're using self-reported studies that said the women told them that they had a self-abortion at home.
Yeah, okay, and so
right.
the,
And so
the
you're
ladies,
yeah,
the
and
ladies
and this is we're supposed to be like, yeah,
women
that's actually
en masse. All these women got together in their little back alley witch meetings and said, "Let's all lie about our
because
abortions."
they can't get an abortion, right?
All right, next.
Also say
Let's move it.
Are you kidding? This Charlie person here, if she got this survey given to her, she would lie and say she did 7 of them at home just to keep abortion on the line.
I really want to see your
What
hairline.
are you talking about?
Can you take off the hat? I want to see the hairline.
Dude's got a ponytail.
My hairline matches yours, and my hair is better than yours too. I wouldn't do that.
Okay, take it off.
Just
then,
sit
princess.
yourself down,
Go
yeah,
on,
with your
Rapunzel.
little fucking
Take off the hat.
man
Take it
jaw
off.
over there.
Only if Soy Pill takes off the hat.
I'll take
Soy
off the
Pill
hat
has hair.
after Speakeasy takes off the hat. I promise.
Yeah.
Listen, this
He's
flirting
not
you're
gonna
doing,
do it. He's not
not
gonna
interested. All right,
Ooh, ooh.
not interested. I'm married, Charlie. Sorry.
Balding,
Quit this flirting
and no
shit.
jawline.
Ain't
Holy
interested.
fuck,
Oh,
dude.
balding fallacy, not an argument.
Miserable.
Okay. All right. Who's got another point to make, please?
I'd love to hear them contest my prohibition point. I think that was a pretty interesting one.
I don't think that the prohibition was necessarily effective. I think that it was effective in getting a lot of the law-abiding citizens to stop drinking. That's true, but you also just basically funded a bunch of organized crime through the mob and the mafia.
Okay, but
Like,
why would
that
you
is
say,
the
why would
case.
you
I
say you
agree.
wouldn't see a similar phenomenon? Is it literally just because more people want alcohol? Like, would you not see at least some scale representation?
Yeah, I
of
think that it
illegal
actually.
abortions
No, I
like
don't
this?
think it would be the same, and here's why. Not only that, Christians have no moral problems with alcohol whatsoever.
Oh, that's not accurate at all. There are.
What was the
certainly
first miracle
Christians
Jesus
that
performed,
do-
lady? I just want you to answer that real quick.
do
What was the
have
first miracle
issue
Jesus
with
performed,
alcohol.
Charlie?
Mormons, for one, I believe.
I don't think they're Christians, anyways.
Well, that's a no true Scotsman fallacy.
No, it's not
Like,
true. No true Scotsman fallacy. I have specific criteria for who is and is not a Christian.
Okay, well then that's silly.
No, it's not.
It is.
No,
say.
there,
I mean,
there are very
Look, that
specific.
Christian MAGA guy
I'll
rammed his
demonstrate this.
truck into that Latter-day Saints church and shot a bunch of them. Clearly, they don't
That was
see
a
each
real
other as
Christian.
the same. To be fair,
I'll
That was
demonstrate
a
this
real
real quick.
Christian.
I'll demonstrate this real quick,
Rammed
Charlie.
that in the Mormon
Hey,
church.
I don't believe Jesus Christ ever
that first
existed,
thing
and
you
I like
do,
to
go to
curse off
laughing
babies
about
for
people
fun. Am I a
dying.
Christian?
That's the left for you.
You
Clown
don't believe
show.
Jesus Christ ever existed?
That's why you wear the
Answer
clown
the
hat.
question.
Oh,
I
it-
don't believe
it
he ever
suits you,
existed,
buddy.
and I like to curb stomp babies. Am I still a Christian?
I feel like believing in Jesus is like kind of the point of.
Oh, so there are criteria to who is or is not a Christian. It's not
Yeah,
just whoever
man,
fucking
and
says
it's
it.
that, and it's that.
Wait,
It's
the Mormons,
That's
the
the only
Mormons
one.
not
You just have
believe
to
in
believe he
Jesus and want to
existed.
curb
You just
stomp
believe that.
babies?
Yeah, a bunch of atheists believe he
Mormons
existed.
do believe in Jesus, man. Like,
All right,
I
so do
don't-
a
we
bunch of
are
atheists.
we
They also
are
believe he
so far off track. Bring it back around, please.
Yeah, the first miracle Christ ever performed was making wine for a celebration at a wedding. Christians do not find alcohol to be immoral.
Didn't
I mean, it
is it
depends
true?
on the
I'd have
Considering
to
the
look
fact
this
that the
up, and I don't know if
overwhelming
it
Seventh
was
Day
majority of
scattered.
Adventists are
at
also
that time
opposed to
was
alcohol
Christian.
as well. So Mormons, Seventh Day
Stillborn, did
Adventists.
Christians not actually like drive prohibition? Like they were like the Puritan people? Like
No,
isn't
it was
like, kind of
women.
a-
It was the women's temperance movement that drives
Christian
prohibition.
Yeah, it
women?
was women.
What does all this matter to the debate prompt?
I actually agree. I don't think that whether or not religious people would reject or alcohol or not has anything to do with whether or not you would see a similar phenomenon of prohibition if you were to ban abortion nationwide. So
Yeah.
Is the majority of the United States religious?
yeah,
I don't know,
excuse me. Pietistic Protestants
You
were
would
the
see
ones who led prohibition.
cartels start taking over abortions. Is that
So,
what
like, what about Catholics and like
if
Catholic
we
and
had,
Orthodox
if
Christians?
we had a
or
nationwide
Muslims?
ban on abortions, we would have speakeasy abortions. Is that what you think?
I mean, literally, this is what
You're a
happened.
moron,
This is
dude.
literally what happened when abortion was more of a more illegal in places. You would have doctors doing.
Oh yeah,
yes,
why didn't it happen
speakeasy
before
abortions.
abortion was available? Why didn't it happen
did.
before
It
abortion
literally
was
did.
available?
There's like tons of
Oh
accounts.
yeah,
of
there
this
was just
happening.
that great
There's also-
epidemic
there's
of people
just
aborting their
historical-
children before
Yes.
abortion.
Yes,
You're an
Yes,
idiot.
there was.
This
And
is
even
happening
I
before,
all the
know,
like,
time.
I
Yes.
know. You know, we
doctors,
did those
midwives
awful
before,
things.
it
We
was
took
the,
those women who were
what
killing
is
babies,
mugwort? The
and we
mugwort
burned them at the
plant
stake
is
for
frequently
horrible
used
people. I
as an
know.
abortificant. So there's been like traditions around the world. People have been
Pointing out
receiving
these
abortions.
like the
Abortion also
minuscule
wasn't always
against the
illegal
majority.
You know, there's
doesn't-
African
think
tribes that
before
just
the
leave babies out for
1900s
lions at night. Did you know that one?
Yeah, I
happens
do know
too?
that.
Is that
so
bad?
before the
Did they do that or no?
1400s,
Should Christians go in and tell the Africans they shouldn't leave their babies out for lions?
man, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. Anyway, I do think that
Christians shouldn't stop Africans from leaving their babies out for lions.
I do.
Wow, this is
Again,
fucking crazy.
abortion wasn't illegal in the U.S. Let me double check because abortion was legal up until like 4 months. I'm pretty sure. If you
No,
were
not national.
I think that was
It was
state.
thing. That was a state's jurisdiction thing. It was banned in most of the United States.
Ask
No,
your
this
chat;
was
they
like-
might be able to tell you.
I mean, yeah, they could actually tell me things. Speakeasy, I'm sorry if you're not a streamer or you don't have enough of a chat to like send you
Yeah,
some
I'm
links.
definitely not a streamer. No chat over here. You're right.
I
And
don't
this
know who you
has
are.
what to do with what I said?
Hello to
Well,
Speakeasy's non-chat. Hi,
You're
guys.
pissy about it.
I'm definitely so pissed. You got me right, Chuck.
I won't take the hat off. I mean, she kind of clocked you
Yeah,
there.
I
I'm pretty
kind of
upset
got you,
about that.
man. I got you.
I think I have a
Yeah.
thumbnail with you, not with a hat on, though.
Can you paste it in the bottom right here, Sarah?
You
The
can go
picture speaks with no hat
back.
on.
I'm pretty sure it's. I don't know if I might have had to remove that one,
I
but
mean,
it
I
would
can
still
make
be
my
over
audience
on
see it, but I
Rumble.
want everyone to see it. You know?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. The last thumbnail, what you did the one-on-one with Mel, and it was there was no hat on that picture. I remember because I pulled it from your, I think, Instagram or something. Yeah,
Can we-
just go look
yeah,
at his
can you confirm
Insta.
the hairline?
I do have a question for Charlie. Charlie,
He had
do you think
he
that
had the rose, I think. Sorry,
Charlie,
go ahead.
sorry.
Get us back on point.
Charlie, do you think that if if there was a federal ban on, let's just say, handguns in the United States, that the
Mhm.
number of people who owned handguns would necessarily go down?
I'm not sure because I do think that there's like already a lot of guns in the US circulating. And I do think that, like you said, 3D printers. And also I think
never
that
said anything about 3D
black
Speakeasy
markets
said it.
selling guns
Oh.
would crop up everywhere. So again, I think that you would have to get rid of all the handguns in the US, and that would be extremely difficult because
Well, do you
we
think
have
like
a lot of-
law-abiding citizens would get rid of them at least?
No.
I don't think that there's
I know
such
a lot of
thing as
law-abiding
perfectly
citizens who would not
law-abiding
follow the
citizen.
law.
I mean,
Well, then
most
you
of
have
us
to account for
speak,
Australia
most
at
of us
that point.
jaywalk.
Or England. Any of these countries that have banned firearms and then nobody has almost
When
nobody has firearms.
when did they ban them? Because the U.S. I think is unique in the fact that we have more firearms than people. Is that
Yeah, we have
correct?
1.5 firearms per person.
Yeah, we have a lot of guns, man. That's a lot of guns. I think
Hell
it would
yeah.
be very difficult to get rid of them completely and totally. So maybe in like 20 years, the amount of handguns would decrease. But
Okay.
I think it would be exceptionally difficult to,
Let's just say it's 20 years, and then like let's just say like 90% of the handguns are gone at that point. By 20 years time, was that law effective?
I mean, yeah, if that happened, sure.
So do you think that if
Yes.
we
Yes, that
federally
would be an
banned
effective
abortion
law.
and then we started societally shaming women who go and get abortions and go like, show my abortion, wear the pink hats and everything like that. We shamed those people for being
Well,
gross
you'd have to get
degenerates and
everyone
telling
on
them
board
they
with
shouldn't be
that.
killing their children. Do you think that over the course of maybe 20 years, the number of abortions would decrease?
Well, yeah, stillborn. I agree with this, but you understand that you saying that the shaming is doing so much of the weight carrying here, where it's like, yes, if every single person was on the same page as abortion, then maybe we could do this after 20 years. And it's not just the law; it's including the societal pressure where everyone agrees that this abortion thing is abhorrent. We should shame.
That's not
them.
everybody
That's not
agrees.
the case.
I didn't
Well,
say it's
you
everybody
just said-
agrees. All
you
the
just
women who
said,
are getting
how are we
abortions
going to
don't
shame these
disagree.
people if half the country don't think the way that you do and don't want to shame these people? Like, obviously,
Let's
this
just
is not
say
gonna
that,
be
like, well,
effective.
do you think that,
Like,
like,
most people
do
don't
you think
care
when,
about
like, let's just, like, for example, like gay marriage, when that first started, do you think that the overwhelming majority of the country was in support of it?
You mean like in 2010, or like, do you talking about like back when like Gavin Newsom was marrying people like illegally?
No, let's say like when Obergefell took effect. Like, do you think that like the overwhelming majority of the country who was still Christian at the time, they were massively in support of this, or do you think that the quiet or the loud minority actually, voiced their opinions and started shaming people who were against it?
I mean, do we
know
have
it wasn't
stats
an
on
overwhelming
this?
majority, but yeah, I can look up. I don't know off the top of my
I'm
head.
just-
Do you mind if a
just based
chatter
off
gives it to me, or am I allowed to Google it? I don't know what.
I don't care if you
percentage
Google it.
was.
I'm just asking, like, do you
Okay.
think the overwhelming majority of the U.S. was in support of it? I would say no. I don't think that they were.
So okay,
Nah,
yeah,
so
then I see
you
what
gotta
you're
ask
saying. So you're-
Chuck's chat, buddy.
Sorry,
You gotta ask Chuck's chat.
Chuck's. Okay, Charlie. Yeah, can Charlie's chat give me the opinion polling on a Burgerfell when it was passed, please? But before I answer that, I see what
Hello,
you're trying
chat,
to say
can you
is
do this?
if a minority of people, say the anti-abortion Christian right, are to shame people, eventually they could influence opinions along with a Supreme Court case to the point where it becomes the overwhelming norm. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, like, do you think that could be the exact?
I think
same
it
thing
could
that-
happen, but I just think there's enough people that are very vehemently pro-choice that this is not going to be something that you can just easily influence through like culture and shaming. Like,
Just
I
like there
don't
are
think this
plenty of
realistically
people that are
happens.
vehemently anti-gay marriage.
Well, yeah, but the difference being some people have it ingrained in their system that like, yeah, I think that gay people are wrong, and like there's really nothing you can do to change those people's minds. But a lot
And
of
yeah, I
people
think
that
there's
did
nothing wrong
change
with
their
killing
minds
babies.
had very kind of like closeted, like, you know, I don't really like these people for reasons that I can't properly explain. And then when they meet and are introduced with gay people in the culture, they realize, oh, I don't really give a shit if these people get married. So I don't think these things are analogous in the same way that like I don't think the reason a bunch of people are pro-abortion, they'd suddenly become anti-abortion if you're like, hey, look at this abortion video, like, isn't this so gross? And it's like, well, yeah, but I still think it should be okay for them to get it.
Well, there are plenty of people like I've this is gonna be anecdotal, but I've spoken to plenty of people who say, you know, I agree with your arguments against abortion, but I see, you know, like the emotional appeals that the pro-choicers make, and you know, it tugs on the heartstrings, and you have to like that makes sense. Like these people get emotionally blackmailed into agreeing with these people, even though they know it goes against what their reason is telling them. Do you think that's not the case? That wasn't the case.
How are we going to get? I mean, apparently these emotional blackmailers are really powerful. How are we going to overcome this?
Yeah.
Is it like the laws get passed and suddenly these emotional blackmailers are going to just disappear? Like, I don't know. Like it seems
Do you
like
think
it's
there was
pretty
people who
effective.
emotionally blackmailed for gay marriage when it first happened?
I don't know if I would
Or
call
before
it
it happened?
emotional
A lot of
blackmail.
emotional
but
blackmailing
I
was
think
going
a lot of people said, "Hey, don't you care about me and my ability to be happy?" And you know,
Yeah, like
with my
can't
partner?"
what just love is love, man. Like let me, it's just not. It's just gonna go to
I
that,
think
man. Just love
sometimes
is
people
love.
have
Like,
their
we
minds
should-
changed. I don't think that's necessarily blackmail. I think it's just like minds being changed sometimes. Also,
But
okay,
if we're not
my chat
legally married,
actually
then
pulled up a
then I
poll
can't
on
be
gay
there
At least
with my
marriage.
chat is
husband's in the
speaking,
hospital.
guys. We all got
my
to debate
chat,
them
my
now.
chat did pull up a poll. 2015, 60% of Americans supported same-sex marriage. 2014, 55%. 2013, 53%. 2012, 53%.
Well, Burgerfell was 2010, so you
2011,
know, I guess.
45%.
Right?
2010, 52%. So
Oh no, it was 2015. Oh my god, what the fuck?
no,
Wow,
it was
so it was a
2013,
majority
I
5
think.
years before a Burgerfell was passed. That's crazy. Sounds like it's not that analogous.
No, it seems like people managed to, you know, through rhetoric and the very, very, very loud minority of homosexuals in the United States managed to, you know, basically just yell at people and socially shame them if they were
It's
against
not a
this
minority.
behavior.
All homosexuals are annoyingly loud, Steelborn. You and I both know that. Come on.
They are still the minority.
That's
They're a
true.
minority in the country.
Oh, compared to everyone else. Okay, I thought you meant
Yeah, like they're
minority
like what,
gay people.
like I think in totality like 1%, maybe.
Yeah, it's not many. Not many.
But they managed to get this law passed that made it federally legal. Isn't that crazy? Like,
Do you think they're just so good at emotional blackmail that they got 53% of the country?
I
on
didn't
board,
say
or
all
that
of it was
most-
emotional blackmail. I'm just saying that.
What percentage do you think is attributed to that, and
Yeah,
what
how many
percentage is
were,
people
how many
just don't
people
care
were
if gay people
emotionally
get married?
blackmailed and people going like, actually, it's not that big of a deal. Who
If we're
cares?
not legally married, then I can't see my husband in the hospital. That's not
Yeah,
emotional
that
blackmail.
sucks.
No, that's
I mean, that's
a
what-
realistic
that's
description of what can happen if you don't allow them to be spouses in certain cases.
It's
Really? Because that's not the case.
importance
You
of
can
the
make somebody
marriage.
your medical proxy in like 10 minutes at a lawyer's office. Like it's not
Oh,
hard
okay.
to do.
Hey, I know you're in the ER. I'm gonna go to find a lawyer at 3 a.m. and get a fucking medical
Well, I
proxy
think he means by preemptive planning. I mean, even I could do that right now, or not
Right now, I can make
this
Sara my
second,
medical
but.
proxy with no.
Oh, actually, Zoom legal, you probably could, and then just having it filed, yeah. But
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody would be able to stop me.
Empathy is not emotional blackmail. You can have emotional
making
blackmail
decisions
that
from
is tugging
empathy
on
is a really
heartstrings,
bad
but
idea.
It's what?
I think empathy is not inherently bad, but if you're ignoring logic for empathy, sure, yeah, but that's not what's happening here. So,
Is your hair red, Speakeasy?
oh, is he doing it? Is he taking off the? Okay, Charlie, I gotta go with Speakeasy. This man has
did it.
pretty fucking luscious hair.
How
I'm not
much
gonna
did your
lie.
hold
You
on,
talk a lot of
Speakeasy?
shit, and this guy's got fucking
Did-
locks.
He wouldn't take
Hold on, hold on. Speakeasy, did
He's
you
gonna hair
did you grift your chat to pay to make you take off your hat?
well, my wife asked me to do it to show her how stupid she is over here. So
I gotta say, if I
how
ever
stupid she is, so,
concede a W, it's
you
the
know,
Charlie. This man has beautiful hair.
He does have nice hair. I'll concede that.
You thought he was gonna rip it off. It was gonna be some like bald guy, and he comes out here with the
I
fucking
was right. He
Fabio,
wouldn't
dude.
take off the hat. It's only bald guys that are scared of taking
It
off
does
the
raise
hat. I'm
questions.
just
Why were
saying.
you so adverse to it?
Yeah,
just
why
don't
were
like
you
listening
scared
to
of taking
women?
off
He likes
the
his hat. What's wrong with that?
I don't
Well,
know.
because I'm not Chuck's dancing monkey. That's why. But my wife.
Yeah, that's like when the guys ask a girl, like when they say, "Get up and do a twirl for me." It's a compliance thing to see if you'll do it or not. That's why I never do,
I just
because
think Speakeasy
I'm
should smile more. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been smiling this whole time. I mean, you conceded the debate in your opening. Every example we give you, you guys have conceded.
I don't think that
you know,
happens.
Charlie,
ever.
I forgot. So you haven't debated with Speakeasy, but you have to declare victory every like 10 minutes or so. Or
Oh,
like
okay. We
sometimes-
win. We won.
Yeah,
we
I
did
forgot.
it.
We won. We did win the debate,
We
though,
did.
right?
You conceded to
We
way
did
more
win
of
the
our debate than we
debate.
have
We did
yours.
win the debate.
Yeah, but just because you're too thick to understand what we're saying does not mean
Yeah.
that we're not.
Oh, yeah.
feel
You're
like,
just too stupid to understand the very basic concept that we're saying. That
hey,
if we
when
ban
we're right,
if we
we're
ban
right.
the behavior, it's not really going to ban the behavior because people are still going to do it anyway. It's just
I mean,
like
you
every
have yet to
fucking thing else that
contend.
we
You have yet to contend.
You guys
with
all
my
suck.
aggregate strategy
All right,
shows
all right, all right,
that
all right, all
the
right, all right, all
rates
right, all right. I'm pondering whether we have any more points to go through. We are kind of coming around a circular portion at this point. If you want, we can go ahead and move to close. I know it's kind of short-lived, but I don't know if anyone's going to get anywhere further or if somebody does have another point that they want to make. Otherwise, we can do closing statements and just hit open panel early on, and hopefully maybe some new points can get brought up on the panel. It's up to you guys. You all have to agree one way or the other. Otherwise, we go by default of the original plan.
I'm fine with the open panel. I don't really have anything else to say. I feel like we made our points. We have the,
Yeah.
we have the studies.
Not just made our points, Charlie. We won. Just to be clear. We won the debate. Just to be clear.
I feel like we actually dominated.
No, in fact,
I
we
will
won-
say-
we won before the debate started. In fact,
Yeah.
I want to say
I will
that.
say I did expect the other side to bring up like the stats in Canada because it actually speaks to our side, and usually people on that side think it speaks to theirs. But in Canada, it's just like a free for all. It's been decriminalized for the longest time now, and what you see is the abortion rates stays the same. Nothing fucking happens when you do nothing about it. If you do something about it, like you see in the States, shit changes.
Wait,
Effectiveness.
you're saying if you completely lift all restrictions on abortion, abortions don't go up?
No, they go up and
It's-
then they
it's-
stagnate at that
and then
really high rate.
it goes up and stays there, doesn't change.
Right.
I almost wish we had
compare that to America.
done a conversation around propaganda and its effectiveness. I don't know, like metrics wise, how that could be shown, but I feel like propaganda is a very vital piece and we weaponize it in some good ways, some bad ways. But I feel like that would have been that would be more effective in a lot of
The most
ways.
effective demonstration of propaganda is cigarettes.
Yes. Why
You know,
did we
like the
take
old-
Joe
you guys
Cool
remember
down?
the old Superman episodes where he'd fight like that guy that was like smoky, and he would just like crush cigarettes and say only like heroes don't smoke or something like that, and cross his arms, and then a bunch of kids stopped smoking after all the Superman commercials.
Hmm. But I mean, even at that, why do we ban advertisements of people drinking? Like you can show alcohol, but you can't show them actually drinking on advertisements. And then also like getting rid of Joe Cool. Even you can't do cigarette advertisements, so on and so forth. And I think a lot of that is because we know and understand how impressionable our youth are to advertisements, bright lights, cartoon characters. Joe
You
Cool.
mean like the Budweiser frogs?
Budweiser, a Budweiser. My favorite. I remember that one. See, it's so impressionable.
Look, I should have been born in the '70s. Is all I'm saying. Because
Like the cigarette packs in Canada, they just show you like gross pictures of what cancer looks like on the lung or people away from trying. And
Yeah.
you've seen
They do that in
you've
Germany
actually
too,
seen
but
less
those
people
kids
smoking
smoke.
cigarettes now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, to be clear, I looked up this Canada thing, and the most recent CDC data from the 2019, so this is an older article, shows that the U.S. abortion rate was 11.4 per 1,000 women, and it's marginally higher than Canada's at 10.1. And in Canada, it's been legal in all 9 states since 1988 with public health
States.
care. And is it provinces? Whatever. Whatever. Who gives a
All right,
shit?
go ahead.
To be clear, no one likes Canada. I forgot you're
That's
Canadian.
true.
Thank you, American.
I don't think Speakeasy likes Canada.
Well, because he's Canadian, of course. Yeah, no. So if the abortion rate is literally lower in Canada than it is here, and they have like the most like complete like no restrictions, you're not even allowed to protest about outside of like abortion clinics there, and they have public.
That's
health
not
care,
true.
Like, I mean, it says that
You
in this
can
article I'm reading. I
protest
trust
outside
that,
of.
but
Yeah, there's
abortion
literally a
clinics.
Planned Parenthood not long, like a 10-minute drive from where I live, and there's people there protesting every day. So that's not true.
well, maybe they changed it since
We have a
August
right to that
31st,
over here.
2022. But would trust you over me to know about Canada.
Anyway, I also don't think that showing pictures of what abortions actually look like would be very effective because if you have a uterus, it just looks like period if it's a medical abortion. Just
Have you ever
looks like
seen a late term
whole
abortion?
period. I have not, but
You
most
should
people
look it up.
are not seeking out
Just
late term
not
abortions.
true, but okay.
You should look it up.
It just looks
No,
like
I know for sure what a medical abortion looks like. I assure you.
Why? Because you had one? Oh, wow.
I will
Or
You're
neither
going to use your
confirm nor
anecdotal
deny,
experience to tell us
but
what
I
it
know
looks
what
like?
they look like. I
Fuck
promise
okay.
you.
I want to correct myself, Speakeasy. It's several provinces, not states. Several provinces have it prohibiting protesting on the sidewalk outside of abortion facilities. Apparently, you don't live in one of these, or they've changed the law since then. So
Yeah, and the point is that the reason I brought this up is that number stays the same, right? And that goes to show that when you do nothing about it because it's decriminalized, nothing changes about the abortion.
then why is the rate then
laws are
lower than
effective in
America?
lowering the numbers? That was what I was bringing this up for.
Why is the rate lower than in America then?
When you bring up the national rates, and this is actually you said it was in 2019 that was from. Yeah, so you probably want to bring up now to compare it. I bet you it'd be
I can
lower
look at
now.
that
But
again.
even if when you guys keep bringing up the national numbers average, I don't know how else to explain it to you other than this would be like
I'm aware
taking the
that certain
average
states
weather
where
and
it's
saying
legal
it
would
doesn't
offset
snow.
certain states where it's illegal, but I would be interested to see that the rates are so high in places where they don't have
Yeah, you can actually that actually makes sense when you look at
completely
Canada.
offsets it, right?
So Canada in 2020, or wait, which one was this? 2022 had 97,000 abortions roughly, and in 2022, the United States had about 1.4 million. And the population difference is that Canada has a population
Can
of
you
about
just tell
40
me the
million
rates? Because you're just saying like raw numbers. The rates are kind of more important.
Do percentages.
Canada was about 10.1 abortions per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44 in 2020, and United States was 15.9.
Okay, so like way higher in the United States, like 50% higher.
What? No, the opposite. United States is at almost 16.
Yeah, in Canada it's 10, so it's higher in the United States.
Yeah.
50% higher in the place where they have more restrictive abortion laws in a bunch of the states.
No, that was 2020.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you
United
want to use
States
a
was
more
16
recent
as
number,
of 2020.
yes, a higher rate of abortions in places with a higher restriction than the place that has one of the least amount of abortion
The
restrictions.
United
in all
at
9
that time,
provinces.
Roe versus Wade was
Okay,
the
well,
rule.
can you
Okay, sure. So then,
can you look at
then use a
2024
new
then?
number from a new thing. But what you're reading to me now is telling me what we're saying, which is that if you completely unrestrict it, but you have better healthcare and contraception, you're going to have lower abortions than if you have more restrictive in more states. You're still going to have a higher rate. That's the whole point. Also, I have to say I won because that's the rule of this debate.
Yeah, we won. We did
Based
it.
on that number, at least.
For the record, the chat always wins, especially my chat, ladies and gentlemen. It's the best damn chat, and they owned all of you, making fun
Sarah,
of all of you, and
win
they had a
when
grand
Ryan
old
comes
time.
on open panel, and you make $8 billion.
Oh, goodness. Speaking of, why don't we move into closing statements, and then we'll move into open panel dumpster fire. Charlie, would you like to start us off, please?
Me and Soypill won. It is undeniable that we are actually the winners. Abortion rates in the U.S., especially including the states bordering states with abortion bans, abortion numbers went up. Fertility rates are still dropping. All the data is on our side. Womp womp.
Thank you, Charlie. Soy pill to you, please.
Yeah, just adding on to that, obviously declaring victory because we always win. But yeah, I mean, I think the important part to see is, yes, when you're looking at places where have incredibly restrictive abortion laws, you don't see a significant lower number of abortions. I mean, even the stat that Steele brought up at the very end there kind of shows what I'm saying, which is, yeah, you can restrict abortions, and obviously you're going to have some number that are going to decrease. But if you look at effective ways to make abortions not happen, this is not the best way to do it. If you look at the Guttmacher study, the best way to restrict abortions, and if you want fewer, dead babies, if you truly think it's killing a baby, I think everyone should be on board with this. We need to increase access to contraception so that people have fewer unintended pregnancies. But otherwise, I just don't think these people contended at all with what we were saying about how this is completely unfeasible to ban it nationwide in the way that they want. And unless you were able to somehow draconially, enforce this everywhere across the entire planet, there's just no effective way to stop people from getting these. You're not reducing the demand. Enough people are going to give the supply, doctors included, that you can't have your magical mifepristone detectors in mail. So just increase birth control and we can have fewer abortions and everyone could be happy.
Thank you, Soy Pill. Speakeasy to you, please.
Yeah, so again, the question isn't whether people still want abortions or whether they'll try to get them somewhere else. The question is whether anti-abortion laws are effective at reducing abortions. And inside the jurisdictions where they're passed, the evidence is bulletproof. Right? When the ban hits, the clinics shut down, in-state abortions collapse to almost zero. Right? Birth rates rise in those states. You guys keep bringing up these other states. You're just saying criminal. Good fucking argument. All right. Every county argument you've heard tonight concedes the same point. People have to travel. People have to look for pills. People had to scramble. This is literally the definition of effectiveness. It literally changed the people's behavior. So here's the takeaway. You can argue about morality, argue about the safety or your scary back alley abortions. All right. But you can't argue with the data. Anti-abortion laws don't just send a message. They change behavior, they change the numbers, and they change reality. And that's effectiveness. Case closed.
Thank you, Speakeasy. And Stillborn to you, sir.
I mean, since we're all doing it, yeah, me and Speakeasy totally fucking won this debate. They didn't contend with a single point that I made, nor did they actually argue against any of them. They conceded to a lot of them, like nobody owns people. That's crazy. I mean, it's like we banned slavery and now there's no slaves in the United States. Isn't that? It might have taken a couple of years for that to happen, but it did happen. So it's like,
technically, it's still legal.
My closing,
if
shut up.
Someone's a prisoner.
It's his closing statement. Thank you.
God, these fucking people. Freaking progressives have no respect. Anyways,
true.
If it was the case that we could federally ban abortion, which is most definitely doable, like it's like logically possible that we could do it, no questions asked, and not only that, it is practically possible to do so. Which is, if you get an abortion, you go to jail for murder. It's not that hard to understand. You could just make that the law of the land, and then people would stop doing it because they would rather not go to prison for murder as opposed to, I don't know, having a baby and giving it up for adoption. Having babies, the things that women have been doing for thousands of years, if not millions of years, these things that, their bodies are designed to do. Like, it's not like, we're asking you to like, can you just like cough up your leg for people because they could just really use it? No, it's the thing that the uterus is actually designed to do. It has a function, a purpose. It was designed to breed, or it was designed to reproduce offspring. So it's not like we're asking you to do anything that's out of the norm. We're asking you to just not kill your children. And that's the laws that we advocate for. Could we enforce those laws? Absolutely. They couldn't contend with any of the points. Me and Speakeasy won this debate. And with that, I'll just see the rest of my time.
I forgot to mention I win. I forgot to mention.
I was gonna say, Charlie, they kind of got us. They I think I counted 4 declarations of win. We only had 2.
Oh fuck!
So
damn it!
But we won.
Yep,
we won. That's 2.
We won.
Oh, goodness. Well, I honestly think if you guys want to prevent abortions from happening, you should promote abstinence and all of that fun propaganda to lead in that direction. Okay, we're going to respond to super chats. The panel is officially open. Please feel free to start hopping backstage. If you'd like to add on to the conversation, we'd love to have you. The link is pinned in the chat. Wow, that's a lot of people already jumping back there. All right. Savage Red Recovery says the Big Ten says, I'm in Ohio, and there was a lot of things that were weird about the election, from marijuana and abortion. And there was a lot of things that were, I think he probably was double typing or something. Any thoughts to add to that? No.
I guess he's claiming that because the abortion law wasn't effective in Ohio, it's because there was like a election riggery or something. I don't know what he's kind of getting at.
Yeah.
I think when this came in, it was first having to do. You guys were talking about Texas and the laws and doing adjacent state stuff, so maybe it fell somewhere in there. I'm not sure, but well, he's backstage, so maybe he can explain it a little more. Tard Wrangler, love that name, says made sriracha and peanut butter sandwiches as a drunk snack. Shit sucks. Don't make it. Ew. Thank you for the heads
Sounds
up.
awful.
That sounds completely awful. Savage Red says, makes sense the smug soy boy grew up middle class or upper middle class. How dare you, soy?
I'm not smug because I grew up upper middle class. I'm smug because I'm right. I just also happen to grow up upper middle class.
Fair enough. K2 Keep on Truckin' says the delivery driver is supposed to report suspicious behavior, especially with medicine, and then the company reports it, and then a federal investigation goes on distracted paperwork.
Yeah, police. This envelope feels like mifepristone. I think you should come check it out.
Yeah, holy mother! Yeah, the medicine, the suspicious medicine shit they're looking at is usually what is it called? Class. What are the
Schedule
super
1.
restricted drugs? I actually have one on my desk right now. Schedule 1. I take Vyvanse.
All right. So the thing is, you keep acting like it would be impossible. You keep acting like it would be impossible to find this stuff in the mail, right?
They would literally be stupid difficult. It would be dumb difficult. I promise you.
Yeah. Okay.
Where are these drugs made?
But we literally make sure that illegal shit doesn't go through the mail all the time.
Okay,
right? You would require some type of judicial oversight and warrants for any mails, right away. You would have it right away. Include medical emergencies and have some type of sticker that represents the exception of that it's coming from a actual prescribed medication. All right. There's plenty of ways we could stop illegal pills from getting through the mail. Why do you think we don't we catch MDMA and all these other types of pills they try to send through the mail?
This is not a we. You're talking about us. And again, as an American, let me make this clear. We have a lot of people in our country, and the USPS is not funded well. This would be extremely difficult to do and would be a pain in the ass. And there's not really
as an American, I can tell you should just try and order some
good fucking argument, Michael Jackson.
Some fentanyl in the mail.
Try ordering that in the mail and see if they stop you before it fucking happens.
To be fair, I mean, the Silk Road was incredibly prolific for like a decade because it was incredibly hard to stop it, and only by shutting it down, and not because they were able to like have mail restrictions on all the drugs that we were shipping and buying with Bitcoin. When I say we, by the way, I don't mean I was doing it. I just think all these other people were doing it.
I mean, I'm assuming it's only like one pill, right? It wouldn't be that hard to have a service selling something of some sort and putting one pill in it. Well, they could be in a place where it is legal, right? Mm-hmm. To get one pill, one girl goes, "Yep, I need a pill." Yada yada yada.
Yeah, but this is if it wasn't illegal everywhere, right? Obviously, we want the ban everywhere. We don't just want it in certain states. We want it every state.
Right, but again, we're talking a reality.
Again, I need you to stop saying we, bro. You are Canadian. I hate it when Canadians...
Hey, bro, I voted for Trump too, stupid. I'm a dual citizen. Shut your dumb ass up for a minute. Stop talking while people talk.
You voted for Trump?
Yes. I got to vote. Yes.
What are you originally?
Shut up for a minute.
Are you American?
Well, Charlie, we don't have to make the racist arguments. Okay? We accept.
No, I am right now. Were you American or Canadian originally?
I'm a dual citizen.
Okay, but
do you understand what that means?
No man can serve two masters.
She
doesn't understand it, frankly. Not that bright.
Where are you from?
Dumb as a fucking stump.
Where are you from?
How'd you get up into debating?
I came in here.
You should
next.
Wait, are you living in Canada?
Next question or comment. You're all getting neutered until it's time you want a baby. Problem solved. Ooh, yikes. Savage Red said, as a person with 5 children, I don't need a liberal, childish woman to tell me about the stages of pregnancy, embryos, or fetuses. Shots fired at you, Charlie.
I think I just saw a really stupid chat pop up, Sarah, that said like per 1,000 isn't per capita. Isn't that like literally what is per capita per 100 or like? It's literally like for each individual.
Whatever the metrics are that you set up.
Yeah, like it could be per 1,000. It could
That's
be per
like
100.
how you.
Per 100,000, however.
Yeah, depending on how you're comparing different places, right?
Yeah, but like they're arguing that it's like, well, it's not like that doesn't take into account population size, but that's literally what it is. It's per 1,000 people. Like if there was 1,000 people, if there are 10 million people, per 1,000 is the rate per 1,000 people, which you could then divide by 1,000. It would be per capita.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want to go that rate, I mean, technically speaking,
I'm not arguing with you, Steelborn. I'm arguing with
the private chat, and everyone's spurging in the private chat. I don't like it when you talk in the private chat unless it's logistics only. Please put your opinions in the regular chat. Thank you, or I will boot the fuck out of you out of my stage. Grid says, can either side please start making actual arguments and holding positions? I actually expect much better from all of you. Ooh, you all just got dad wonned.
No.
And yes, I'm a dick. No, I think you're just a dad. He just dadded all of you.
Grid's actually kind of a nice guy. I'll say that.
I met Grid one. He's an awesome guy. He's really fucking funny to be around.
Grid's great. Savage says, of course, a childless woman doesn't know anything about pregnancy is lecturing us. You liberals need to stop talking about rural middle America. You don't know what you're talking about.
Is that person's profile picture just a homeless person?
County, so.
I'm not sure. What is that, actually? I almost thought that was a... Never mind. Also followed up with 2022, Texas had 297,000 babies born in 2023, 397,000 babies born in 2024, 600,000 babies born. Are you lying, ma'am? Did she freeze, or she
counteracts the study on like birth rates, and rates have to do with the rate and not the number. And if the population's increasing, there's going to be more people. But if the birth rate's decreasing, that's kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah, it's percentages.
Okay. Amy says, are we looking at baby deletions for all birthing persons or just biological women? That probably makes a difference.
Like a trans joke? Trans people can't have babies, right? Trans women?
I think it's a trolling question. I'm pretty... I
feel like
couldn't
this is
imagine
like the pregnant
it.
people joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there can be pregnant trans men, right?
Oh, God. Savage says, Charlie, you're a man. He's got a thing for you. Charlie, you're right. Women are naturally devious because we caught you lying on stream, Charlie. You're right. Women are naturally devious because you caught. I wonder if he's doing like voice.
Are these people typing? They're hyping up their chats. They're typing in a notepad like this is going to hit so hard, and they copy paste it into the chat box, and then they like hit it twice.
It might be voice to text too. I know that has a lot of translation errors. We've seen that happen with our trucker friends. Shags sends money just to support us. We love you. Thank you, Shags. I like your name. Jess says, ban abortion, use condoms, stop trusting guys to pull out in time, and maybe don't fuck people you wouldn't want kids with.
Like I said, if you're gonna ban abortion nationwide, if this was accompanied by like unrestricted access to contraception everywhere, I think you'd actually see a pretty significant drop in abortions to the way that people want them to go away. Unfortunately, they're also trying to get rid of
restricted access you're talking about?
Like, let's just say abortion was just illegal in every circumstance, but everyone had complete and total, like, universal access to contraception.
Wait, I asked you.
That's what we're asking.
What's
what
the
do you mean?
restriction we don't have right now? Like, who can't go get condoms, bro?
No.
I think it's more like religious stuff.
First of all, people are trying to ban contraceptions in a lot of places, but
cool. That's not what I asked you.
What I'm saying is universal access to birth control. I'm saying that it is like free, and it's like there's a fucking.
You know what birth control does to women? Do you understand all the negative side effects that come with birth control?
I'm very aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So why would you want to promote this?
So that we have fewer unintended pregnances, which
you could just tell people to stop fucking until they're ready to have children. That is
not
the way we can still be degenerate but not get pregnant. Like, what is this, dude?
I know telling people not to have sex works for you, Steelborn, but most people want to have sex, and unfortunately, you have to kind of like
I'm not saying
do
that.
other
I'm saying you
things.
don't
Up until sex ed got into classrooms, it worked for everyone else too. Stupid.
No, it literally didn't. If you
Yeah,
look
it
at, you can
literally
look
did.
at literally
When they
controlling for
introduced sex
abstinence only.
education into school, that's when you've seen the rise in teen pregnancy. That's
So what he's
No,
talking
it's
about
actually the
specifically was
opposite. Sex ed and a non-abstinence only education
my
decreases
Lord.
teen pregnancies.
I don't remember what year it was. I think the
You
other.
guys
I
just
think the
make
study
up
was
shit
done.
as you go
Hey,
off.
children, children, children,
Charlie
children,
Stat fact check
children,
on that one,
children. I have a feeling I'm going to be playing the horse video a lot tonight just for your
Oh,
chat,
please, no.
Soy. Well, if you guys keep talking over each other, I will. So fuck around and find out. All right.
Okay, just real quick, Sarah, I am putting in that more comprehensive sex education reduces teen pregnancies, just because he thinks I pulled it out of my ass, but it's because I read a study once.
What else can you pull out of your ass? K2 says, know what you
Sarah.
guys can...
Is there an HR for the Raging Tomato Show? Excuse me.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yes, I am
whoever Sarah
HR.
doesn't want to deal with.
K2 says, know what? You guys convinced me I need to buy more pew-pews.
Left-wing
That is
audience,
true.
buy more guns. I agree.
There you go.
But real quick, Soy, I just wanted to mention this. What Speakeasy was trying to reference, I think it was done between 1979 and 1980, where they did or maybe no, it was 1979 to 1989, I think. Might have the decade wrong, but it was somewhere it was a decade-long study where they did. They asked high school graduates whether or not they had their virginity intact prior to them bringing sex education into the school. About 90% of high school graduates said they still had their virginity exiting high school. 10 years after they implemented sex education, something like 90% of high school graduates graduated without their virginity.
Okay, wait. I need to. Okay, first of all, have you taken into account the phenomenon of lying bitches? But if we ignore that, have you considered that as we introduce more progressive sex education that tells people that you shouldn't feel shamed for losing your virginity, fewer people are going to say, "Oh, I totally have my virginity intact," and they're going to say, "Yeah, oh, it's okay to admit that I don't have it." Like in the 80s versus like the 70s, or if we go back to like the 50s and shit, where they would do like fucking hymen checks on wives before marrying them. Yeah, like of course.
Jesus. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is if you look at actual abstinence-only education and how ineffective it is in stopping teen pregnancy, but then you bring up a study of, hey, we just asked people whether or not they are virgins, and like
Weird,
yeah,
you tried to use that as an argument earlier, and then you used my argument against it. That's
the difference is women usually don't lie
Nobody would
about
ever
getting
lie about having an abortion.
The difference is women usually don't lie about getting abortions. If anything, they would be more likely to say, no, I wouldn't, because of a lot of people shaming them, versus people are definitely lying about, I have my virginity intact.
Hold on,
there's like
do you think that they were being asked by their mom and dad, dumbass? They were being asked by
God.
fucking research teams. They didn't know.
Yeah, they're
And it
still
was
not
totally
gonna
anonymous.
say yes. What the fuck? Also, I do think that my generation having less sex than our parents, millennials and Gen X, that counts for something. We have more sex ed than ever, and Gen Z is not blinking.
Yeah, but
Didn't
yeah,
you
even
just
if I
say
grant
earlier
this study,
you had a
just so
medical
you know, like we
abortion,
can
I wouldn't
look.
use yourself as an example here. You're an example of why we should ban it.
What?
Didn't you just say earlier you had a medical abortion?
Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't?
I think she
that
said
wasn't
she
what you
would.
used as your
I said I would. I
example
also
of how
said I
you know what it
I
looks
know
like?
what a medical abortion
That isn't
looks
what
like.
you said?
I told you
All right,
that I know what
backpedal
one
now,
looks
though.
like. I didn't
Backpedal
say that I
now.
had
No,
an
she
abortion.
did, to clarify. She did say if she did, because she was talking about the adjacent state and going somewhere else to do. She would in fact do that if she needed to.
She said she knows what it looks like because she said that it looks like just a period. And I said, is that really what you think? And she said, I know. So
I do know what it
doesn't mean
looks
she
like.
did it.
So how do you know?
To be-
We're implying
to be-
that you have personal experience.
I've
Okay.
actually been in
hold
the
on.
warehouse
Backpedal
where
it now,
Charlie
that's
force
fine,
feeds
though.
mifepristone.
To be fair, I've seen a lot of videos on it. I've seen it like on videos, so that I'm just trying to make sure we're not putting words in people's mouths that don't belong. That's
Speakeasy,
all.
I've seen beheading videos, and I want to make it clear to everyone in chat, I've never beheaded a single person.
That's fair. We
But I do
all
know what it
saw
looks
that one.
like to behead a
Pussy.
human
I mean,
being.
you totally could.
All right, last two, then we're going into dumpster fire. On the edge, Marte says Chuck's shirt is perfect. She's the Michael Myers of her womb. I feel like we need a lovely solo display of the lovely Michael Myers, although that is bad. Halloween safety.
Yeah, babysitter safety.
Also, you'll
babysit sitter's guide.
See, Charlie will stand up for Sarah, but you won't take your hat off for Charlie. Speakeasy.
Oh, shit.
Again, unlike you, Soy Pill, I don't simp for everything that has a vagina, you know?
Well,
My
and
wife
to be
has
fair,
it,
I
like,
wasn't
did it.
calling
I'm
her
not like one
out
of the
in a
most
bad
sexist
way.
that way people I know.
K2, keep on trucking. Last one. They found people buying the CDL instead of taking road tests, followed the cash through the mail. They found
I think
people.
he's just trying to make an argument that like people are, getting around certain driving restrictions.
No, that's
and
not what
they were able
he's
to
pointing
track
out
back
that they
in, right?
actually they popped them for it.
Yeah.
That they actually were able to do that by just like looking through the mail. They popped people who were just buying a
Yeah.
CDL as opposed to taking the test.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to look for cash through the mail. I think that we
Yeah,
have
when
pretty
they
good
were
ways of doing that.
when those people were trying to send those puberty blockers and shit to kids through the mail, guess what happened? We stopped it. Oh, it looks like you can stop specific pills from getting through the mail. Stupid. Holy fuck.
Aren't puberty blockers like a liquid?
Shots. It's
Yeah.
shots, I believe. Yeah, which is a lot easier to find.
The hormone pills too. You
I
don't remember?
I
know a
don't
lot of
know.
people
It's
that get
liquid as
hormone pills through the
well.
mail, buddy.
Testosterone is in
White
gel
Nervosa
or
and the
Is
whole
this lady
fucking
fucking crocheting a
LGBT
scarf?
like, you guys just,
She
like,
does
get
that.
off the stage.
She
It
does
doesn't
that
help.
every stream. It's her. It's I.
I'm
Some
not
people
judging her
play
for
with
having the ADHD.
paper
I
clips.
was just judging the outlet of the ADHD, which was fucking crocheting a scarf.
I think it's awesome because it keeps her
It's
busy
fun.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
play
good thing.
solitaire.
Trust
I was
me.
playing solitaire through some of this too.
Oh my god! All right, dumpster fire. Here we come.
Sarah,
Yes.
link
Whoa.
for the panel. My chat is asking for it.
Yeah, you can drop the same link that I gave you if you want, or I can drop it backstage if you need it right now, like that. Actually, I'll just drop it
If
backstage.
it's a StreamYard one, I can drop that in chat. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, everyone, welcome. We got some new faces here. Welcome to the Raging Tomato, also known as the Open Panel Dumpster Fire. What is fun about this is there are other people waiting backstage to get on, and what can happen is if you start talking crazy or being annoying, the chat can and will boot you with a measly $10 of their hard-earned money that they will super chat up here, and they will say, get rid of such and such, yada, yada, yada. Throughout the evening, I will be dropping into the chat who is backstage. That way they know who's waiting so patiently. It's a full panel back there, so whoever keeps trying to hit the button to get in, please stop. You're going to have to wait until somebody leaves. Outside of that, keep your interruptions to a minimum. When it gets chaotic, I play really stupid videos. Soy Pill absolutely loves the horse video. It is his favorite. So if you interrupt, plan on seeing that one very, very soon. Somebody already paid in advance just for you, Soy. Let's go ahead and kick off. Savage, you were first in line, and also you had some super chats. I'd imagine you have some things to say. Go ahead.
So, to answer the question about my picture, that is a picture of CT as a homeless man sleeping on the street. That's what my picture is. Second, so you said that the birth rate slightly dropped. From what I'm looking at, I'm seeing that it went to 60.6 per thousand people, and then it dropped to 60.6 per thousand people. So can you tell me what it dropped to with the study you have for Texas?
Oh, you're looking at the Texas study? Let me see.
It looks like 52.4 over here. That's the number I see here.
Okay. So, I guess just a quick question. The prompt is, are anti-abortion laws effective at reducing abortions? Isn't like currently, right? like the current abortion laws, are they effective at
concept.
reducing abortions?
No, that is also, a part of the prompt, I think.
Sure, because I guess the reason I ask is because my understanding, and I could be wrong about this, is my understanding of the data is that due to the offset of people traveling across state lines and using things like telehealth, that the abortion rate nationally has not actually gone down since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. So at least in terms, so maybe the prompt you guys should have taken, Speakeasy and Stillborn, is anti-abortion laws could reduce abortions, could be effective at reducing abortions. I think that might have been a better prompt for you guys.
Pointing out what happens in the the surrounding states isn't actually addressing the argument. The number of abortions in the state went down, and the birth rate went up.
Well,
Yeah, but
that's
if
why we asked
the people
about,
who were
what you
seeking
consider
abortions still
effective,
go
right?
elsewhere.
If gun crime,
Go ahead, sorry.
If you have it banned everywhere,
One at a time, please. One at a time.
Right? If you have it banned everywhere, you can't just go elsewhere. So this argument of they can just go elsewhere would be taken away. So do you have something else, or?
Yeah, so like I said, that would be a different prompt. Then that would be like a different set of laws than what we have currently. The anti-abortion laws currently don't seem to nationally reduce the abortion rate, is what I'm pointing out.
Did they reduce it in the states that they're in?
You can't point at the national.
Seems like it was pretty
Why
effective
not?
in those states then.
Because
Don't
that would be
all
like
lives matter.
No, because it would be like pointing out the averages across America of the weather to say it doesn't snow.
But
do you understand? You can't
the states
point out,
nearby have influxes in abortion
it's
because people
by
are traveling.
state basis, not the
Yeah,
national.
people are traveling across
If it was
state lines to
banned
get
nationally,
Yeah, let's just look it up.
national.
Well,
I
people went to
understand what you're saying.
Colorado
If it
from
was banned
Texas, right?
nationally.
Do you
What?
guys care?
People went from
that there are
Colorado. People went
the
to
same number of
Colorado from
abortions
Texas for the most
happening, or
part
do you
for
say
abortions,
that's
right?
good?
Potentially, yeah.
Why don't we just look up how much there was an increase in abortions in Colorado
Yeah, we
when
should.
Texas
We should do
banned
that.
it?
And additionally, how much of an increase there was in telehealth and abortion pills being sent to people in those states.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would stop that. That would be an
Yeah,
anti-abortion.
you would.
law.
Again, that would be different laws than we have right now. So again, a better
Right.
prompt for you guys that you wouldn't
Well,
have
is it-
lost on
wait,
would be:
wait.
could abortion laws be
Okay,
effective at reducing
Coder,
abortions?
is it an anti-abortion law? Yes or no?
The current abortion laws?
No.
Yes.
No, if
If
we were to ban,
if we were to make it that the FDA made sure that these pills weren't allowed to be sent through the mail, right? Would that
just
be an
sold in the United States.
anti-abortion law?
Sure, and potentially
Okay,
that could
so
reduce
thank
abortion.
you, and it would
We
be
haven't seen that
effective, right?
happen. We haven't seen that happen. So
And
you're
it
just
would be
speculating,
effective, though, right?
Potentially, but you're just speculating.
Okay.
if the FDA
Potentially
banned,
or logically?
pills, like they just banned them in the United States, like that would just potentially reduce.
How would it go up?
Oh, we do actually have a number. 170,000 patients traveled out of state in 2023 to seek abortion care. But that doesn't account for at-home abortions that people got through telehealth. from out of
Yeah,
state.
people travel states to do fucked up shit that they
No.
can't do
That's
in their
people.
current
People
state all
left
the
their
time. This
states.
isn't an
People left
argument.
their.
So that number, that 170,000, is that throughout the entirety of the nation?
In all states that have abortion bans.
Okay, so yes, that was all states. Okay, that's what I was trying to understand.
What's up? So considering the prompt
Hello,
says
RPG.
abortion laws plural, it's implying what's going on in the status quo as there are multiple laws in different states. If the prompt said an overall abortion ban across the entire country, it would say an abortion law because one federal law would be all you would need, right? So because it's plural, I think it's implying the status quo.
You would need to implement it through the mailing services as well. You would have to do a lot of different things. Actually, you would have to have the punishment not only for the woman getting the abortion, but the people performing it. If it was like some like underground doctor, like everyone thinks is going to happen, right? Like so there would be actually more than just one law, but.
But that's really the only way that the offset gets rid of, right? Is that you have to have a total abortion ban. Any way of just having abortion laws in different places, it's only going to offset to places where it's legal, right?
Well, that
Not necessarily.
that
Let's just say
isn't
half the country
addressing
banned it.
if it's effective or not. That's just saying
So-
people if people have an easy access right next door to do the thing they're not allowed to do in the current place, that they're going to go next door to do it. But if you take
Yeah.
away the next door, then what?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
They
saying.
go
You
next
have to
door.
have a total abortion ban to actually do it.
That's
That's what I was
what
saying
we're
earlier.
arguing
No, you
You guys
don't
were
even have to have a
asking
total
whether or not
abortion
And it would
ban.
be
whether or not
even
the
more
numbers went down in
effective.
Texas. You're not asking
One
whether
at
or
a
not
time,
numbers went
please.
down.
One at a
Hold on,
time.
hold on.
One at a time.
Okay, Effigy,
Thank
you
you.
wouldn't have to have a total ban. Let's just say the United States split down the middle, right? Like we did for the Civil War, like just that, but it goes all the way to California now, right? Do you think people in North Dakota, there's going to be anywhere near as many people in North Dakota who wanted to get an abortion are going to drive down to like Texas to get one if it was legal there?
Yep.
Yes.
Just as many people are who wanted to get one in North Dakota are just going to drive to Texas to get it.
Yes.
I don't think you understand how big a deal being pregnant is.
I don't think that you understand the
Oh
fact that what
my
you're saying is absolutely
gosh.
ridiculous. That there's going to be 1.5 million illegal abortions. In the
We're
United
mad. We don't
None
understand.
of that matters.
Roe
Roe
v.
v. Wade, one of the
bro, are
number
you
one
not?
maternal
What the fuck are you
fatality
talking
things
about,
was
bro? What are you-
unsafe abortions, right? There were entire wards in hospitals dedication to the things that happened to women through unsafe abortions.
Yeah, in 1971, before Roe versus Wade, how many women died from legal abortions?
I don't have the exact stat in front of me.
It was
so.
29.
You mean
How many
from
think died
illegal?
from illegal abortions in the United States in 1971?
How many?
And tell me.
It's 36. Such a
Okay.
massive increase. I know, it's crazy.
Wait,
Nobody's actually
did you say
engaged with this
illegal
debate
versus
yet.
illegal in the same year? Is that what the
Nobody-
number
I
is?
agree. No one has engaged with this debate yet. Not from the
All right,
beginning.
so
I think
help us out
Grid
here.
One,
Right.
Grid One was accurate in what he was saying.
Okay, so
When I
help
read
us
the
out.
title, when I read the title of this debate, the key word that rang out to me was effective. Now, I am 110% against soy pills philosophy, but he was actually the closest to engaging with this debate the entire time, because he was saying pretty effective or substantially effective, something along those lines. And when you add in adjective modifiers to that, it means there's a percentage number in your mind of what you're thinking will cross the line into effectiveness. So, for example, if there is an effectiveness in any kind of state on abortion, let's say there is, a soy pill, and let's say that he thinks it's 40%, Speakeasy thinks it's 20%, but the actual number is 30%. Well, then you're all going to be wrong. So nobody's actually engaged because nobody has defined what effectiveness is from the very
I
beginning.
literally defined what
Did
effectiveness
they
is.
alter
How-
their
how did you
behavior to
define
the
it?
Come in late or something?
Well, it's
I
possible. I may
literally
have,
defined what effectiveness
what
is.
did you say that it was?
He said if it reduces it by
I thought
one.
you heard all my arguments, and you know how incoherent I
okay,
was.
hold on a
Now all of
second. I
sudden
didn't-
you don't know
I
what
Go
did
I'm
not
ahead.
heard you
Go.
say it.
Hold on.
What did
Go.
you
Go
say?
ahead and go ahead and
Did they alter their behavior due to the laws going into effect?
Well, I'm just asking Speakeasy, what did you say that it was at the
That's
very
what he
beginning?
said.
Say it again.
Did they alter their behavior due to the abortion laws going into effect?
Okay, just to be clear, by that definition,
in
if the
the
number of
state-
abortions stayed exactly
try-
the same, but they did it in a different way because they altered their behavior, you would call that effective.
Yes.
It reduced the number of
Well,
abortions.
let me
in
let me
the
put it this
laws.
way.
To be
Let
clear.
me put it a different way.
Just because you don't like the effectiveness doesn't mean that it's not effective.
Well, yeah,
The whole
I
thing
agree
is
with that
you
too. Yeah,
literally
you're
just
right.
said.
I guess if that's what
But
you're
you
arguing
literally
for, is
just
for everyone
said,
to have
Chris.
the
All right,
exact
let
same
me
number
let
of
me
abortions.
reset because you guys are interrupting. If you're watching on the tomato side, I'm about to raid you over to the gauntlet. If you're already there, congratulations, you're where you need to be. I'm going to shut the tomato down in exactly 2 minutes. So either start moving over with the link that's being dropped in the chat or catch the raid. Up to you. And Chris, you got about 60 seconds to finish your thought because a boot just came in for you. But I'll let you, I
Okay.
want you to finish your thought.
If we could just all agree that because we're not omniscient, there's no possible way that we could determine that even one person was not deterred from any such law. There's nobody that could ever determine that. So it's impossible to disprove that. So all we're saying is that if somebody believes that one person being deterred from this is effective, that would then essentially be effective. And then the debate's over. I mean, because it becomes completely subjective at that point. So
I
that's
agree.
what I wanted to say is let's, define our parameters before continuing the discussion.
Yeah, one life saved is worth it. Facts.
All right, Chris, I'm going to throw you backstage. Now, I'm going to put you back in line, so hang tight because it moves fast.
Timu Rob
go
Nor.
Hey, we've been calling him Timu Rob Noor for a while now, and it's been great having him on because he does look like him. Right?
I
might as well own it.
I've never heard of anybody ever. You need to start getting aggressive with Ryan.
So I think Chris actually raised a really good point. Like, how are we precisely, like maybe metrically, or is there a hardline definition that is objective that we could say is effective? Can anybody maybe offer something to that?
I would like to say that I think that
earlier.
I think that it would have to be something that would, I mean, the purpose of, the abortion laws in the U.S. were, it's my understanding, enacted because they wanted to increase the population of native-born Americans. And so I think that if there hasn't been a significant increase in the American population, then I don't think it's terribly effective. If we don't really have like a proper,
no, it's value of life. That's what
you're literally attacking.
Well, that's what the
you're
purpose
literally
is.
attacking a straw man. The point of anti-abortion laws is because the people who want abortion laws passed is because we believe that human life has inherent value and that those babies in the womb have a right not to be destroyed by their mothers before they get the chance to even defend.
All right. Well, I'm just trying to be practical because
that's great, but that's not our position. So you're attacking a literal straw man.
Concern. If we, oops, I just pulled out my fucking headphones.
Well, the practicality of it would be the value of the life.
Speak? Hello.
You can go ahead. It's your
Hello?
panel.
No, what you're saying is we want to
I'm
decide that the
still
government
talking.
gets access to other people's bodies.
So if we are
They already have access to other people's bodies. What's
if
wrong
we
with
are
you,
to
dude?
fucking deport people in the U.S. and significantly decrease immigration, then we need to have
That's a
enough
different
children
argument.
to properly replace the population. Would that not be the purpose of an
That's a different
abortion ban?
argument.
So wouldn't it be actually the most effective way of doing that be ban contraception and abortion, and then people wouldn't be able to not have babies, and then they
people
would
are
be having
trying to
babies
do
left
this.
and right?
I
Just saying,
people
like, you
are-
want to
this
go
is-
practical.
this is
Isn't that
people
what we're?
Why not just ban sex outside of marriage?
I mean, that would be the actual, like, to me, it would be
Christian thing to do.
Well, I would say it would be kind of the
5 seconds. How you'd have to enforce that?
Yeah.
Well, no, I think yes, you're right, but I think effectiveness in terms of like now we're not worried about backstreet abortions and so on and so forth, because if the fear factor, right, in terms of, oh, well, I could go to jail if I have an abortion. Well, if the fear factor starts at merely having sex prior to marriage, then now the fear factor sits there, right? So you're backing up the level of fear factor to the point of things even starting to happen versus I'm not promoting banning having sex premarital. But what I'm saying is, if you're going just based off of implying a fear factor into people, a consequence that they don't want to, if they're law-abiding citizens, that would be where I would start initially, if that is the basis.
Okay, real quick, Sarah. The problem that, and I don't think you're doing. I think you're doing this unintentionally. Is that you think that? And I don't know about. I won't speak for Speakeasy, but I'll speak for myself. I don't care if women die because they try to kill their babies. I don't care. I don't feel bad for them. I have no sympathy, no empathy that they died
so
in the process
pro-life
of
of you.
trying to kill their children. I don't
It's real
care.
pro-life, yeah.
It's like to me, it's the equivalent of being like, I'm so sad that this person who was essaying their child didn't die in the process. I don't care if that's the case.
Did Stillborn say that he was pro-life, or is he just saying that he wants to abolish abortion?
Ooh, your mic is choppy, bud.
Your robot.
Just so you know. Yeah.
I would
That's okay.
I would want to take into account the fact that by a single state banning abortion, obviously women are going to go to other states to get abortions. So in order to determine whether or not the ban is effective, you'd have to look at the very least at like the national rate of abortions and see if that goes down.
No, see,
Which
that's
it
wrong.
did
You would
not.
have to look
It
at it
went up.
by state, and the effectiveness is comparing the measurable decline to what it was like before the ban. You
Yeah,
can't
but if you
compare
don't
it
take
to
into
the
account
following states
if you
after
don't
the
take into
ban, that
account
doesn't
the
even-
if you don't take into account the change in the number of abortions in the surrounding states by looking at the national average
we
rate
had a
as
law-
whole,
I'll explain real quick.
you're
I'll give you an analogy.
missing the whole picture. And
Hold on, okay. If there's a state,
so
let's say
great.
that seatbelts weren't
I
legally
say
mandated
something
across-
reasonable and I get
let's
kicked
say
immediately.
seatbelts weren't
You
mandatory.
see what we're trying to deal with, KO Dave? Do you see what we've been
I got to get myself
explain?
up there one of these days.
Let me
so
real
I
quick.
can't
Let me
get
make this
kicked.
analogy so you understand what
I'm
we're
going to
saying.
do it with Coder, and then you guys can't kick me or him, and then
hell
you'll
yeah.
have to
God.
deal.
Anyways, let me explain what we're trying to say. If seatbelts were not legally, damn it, Sarah!
Oh, did you still want to? I'm sorry. I thought you were. I didn't.
Real quick.
That's
Try to listen to
fine.
what he said real
I
quick.
apologize.
Okay, if seatbelts were not legally mandated in the United States, and we wanted to determine if seatbelt laws that have been passed were effective. We're not going to look at, did the total number of car crashes go down, or did the total number of deaths from car crashes go down? We're going to look at the states that passed seatbelt laws and see if did their number of total car crash deaths go down. We're not going to look at the national average of car crash deaths.
People reduce or increase.
Because some people over in the fucking states where it's not, they might be doing even more stupid shit.
Yeah, this doesn't work in the same analogy because, like I said earlier, you can look at the abortions in Texas, but you're not counting the abortions that Texans have.
You guys,
Kay, did you have a response?
I think that Soy and Effigy just responded just fine, so I'll take my boot, I guess.
Sorry, buddy.
Okay.
Bye.
Is my mic working now? Just out of curiosity.
Sorry, I'm scared by
it's still choppy.
You have an accent and are not American, so I'm going to take you even less seriously.
He is British, and I make fun of him for it every time I talk to him.
It's sounding choppy, so I don't know if it's how you're Bluetoothed in. Maybe there's a... Oh, well, he just leaves. That's fine, too.
Damn. Brexit.
Okay, Frito's up next. Okay. All right, back to you. And Jess Gerald gifting 10 Gauntlet memberships out to all of you lucky lottery winners. Congratulations. Fuck It Button says states plus anti-abortion law changes said state abortions lower. State plus no law change equals irrelevant in all aspects. Law proven effective. Cope harder.
This guy's not allowed to say anything if he can't spell abortion. That's embarrassing. He did.
It's because it'll
POS. It won't let you.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. POS.
Say the word abortion.
Yeah, because
okay, then if that's the case, I'll address this argument. So again, if we're talking about effective, if your measure for effective is number go down in state, where obviously this is true, we can read this measurement, and not, hey, the number of abortions has reduced, which is what I would hope the people who want to reduce abortions want. And clearly this isn't happening because it's increasing in all these other states. And then you have to move on to the argument, well, if we banned it everywhere, then it would be effective in the way that we want it to be. That's the reason we keep bringing up, hey, there's a reason it's not working when you ban it on the state level, and we can't go into your fantasy land where it becomes federal and everyone complies.
Why can't we go into the fantasy land where it gets banned federally? It was legalized federally. Oh, because it's not happening. What a fucking argument.
Because it's not happening. We're talking about the present. We're talking about reality, dude.
Was it legal federally?
We're talking about reality. Holy shit! I don't think you've been in reality this whole fucking.
Was it legalized?
I don't think
federally?
you've been in my
ban it
country
federally?
this whole time,
I don't know, slavery.
Yeah. Okay. I literally just came back to Canada, stupid. I was there when he got elected. You know that?
We federally
Probably
banned
not, right?
slavery and then that stopped. I mean, it's crazy.
Right? I know you probably saw a picture of me and thought, I got this. This guy looks dumb.
I don't actually research
yourself.
anyone that's supposed to be my opponent.
Probably not smart.
I don't. I don't care.
So, question: what do you guys think happens to the children that were going to be aborted if they aren't
get
aborted?
born?
Yeah, they're born, and then they hire me to eat the baby. Like, this doesn't solve anything.
What?
Like,
fucking
if you ban the abortions, it's just gonna end up killing like born babies.
You're right. We
Like, what
didn't
is
account for baby
plan?
eating Andy. We
You
never
didn't account
Can
for
you
me. I eat
explain that one,
babies.
Andy? Can you explain that kind of whatever concept you just
walk us through this?
See,
dude.
Cuddling a
okay,
fucking
so-
shark. Why are you listening to this dude?
They ban abortions.
He needs to
Less
stop
people have the abortions, so they kill the babies.
What?
What the fuck are you talking
They
about?
kill the babies.
How much
Who
that
is
were going to
they
be
and-
aborted?
What?
Ooh.
Hold on.
Sir,
Sir,
aren't
how much
aborted.
weed have you smoked this evening?
Hold on, guys. Let me.
Are you like stuck on a ceiling? Like, is your ceiling
Oh,
so
I'm in an
low?
attic.
Yeah, he's. You should probably get out of that person's attic.
That
You're
makes it
hiding in,
worse.
dude.
No. Wait. Where did they find the babies? Who are they? Why are they eating them?
It's the baby
Okay.
eaters.
Let me explain this better.
Trolling, dude.
If a woman is going to have an abortion, but she doesn't because abortions are banned, what do you do when she kills that baby after it comes out?
You put her in
from
fucking. You fucking hang her in the public square. I don't give a shit.
Now she's red roamed a human being.
Great.
But regardless of that, I want to get back to the thing you said earlier. Who are they?
you guys falling
and
for that?
why are they eating babies? And what are
It's
they doing?
me. I'm eating the baby. It was a
Why?
dumb joke.
Oh, okay. Okay, it was a joke.
Andy's tag says baby eater.
I didn't realize that he was a troll, Clay. What's wrong with you? God.
I'm trying to follow
Bye-bye.
the logic. What's specific?
Yeah, you did that to yourself. It was only a matter of time.
You guys indulged that for so long.
Thank you, Savage
Thank
Red,
you,
for doing what
Andy. That was
everyone wanted.
hilarious.
Based Andy.
So essentially, if people don't have abortions, typically the baby lives. Do we have a stat on how many babies die post birth had the mother chosen not to do is that even a thing?
Well, no,
I
what
know
we
there's
do
a
have is we have
song,
the
Brenda's
stats
Got
of
a Baby by
infant mortality in the
Tupac.
states that banned abortion, and it went up by 0.25%.
Say that one more time, Stillborn.
We have the stats for infant mortality, both pre and post states banning abortion, and in those 14 states, the infant mortality increased by 0.25.
And now is that by like natural causes or?
It was just infant mortality by natural causes usually.
Oh,
They didn't specify whether it was natural causes, but I'm assuming that's what it was.
I mean, there's a difference, I'd say, between mortality and like murder, right?
Yeah, I think that would be. I think that'd be
babies.
An important distinction. That dude's gonna. Maybe they're not including that dude eating the babies. I guess I don't fucking know.
That was really weird.
Can't really say. I think that's happened in
That's
every
just still tripping me
area
out.
in humanity since the dawn of time, right? Mother
Well,
killing
yeah,
their kids.
I mean, like postpartum depression and postpartum,
Yeah,
those
people murder
are-
each other, so should
are
we take away
things,
murder
yeah.
laws?
No, I'm not
Well,
saying
No
that.
one said
hold
that.
up, though.
No one said that. I
postpartum.
just said that, like, yeah, sometimes people do kill their kids.
Well, even at that, postpartum can happen to any mother, whether she wanted baby, didn't want baby, is in perfect conditions to have a baby or not.
There's a really strong
Postpartum
correlate with
is
iron in postpartum depression.
what's that?
There's a really strong correlate with a woman's iron levels.
Oh, really?
Pre-birth, because if you're low iron after you give birth, it's actually really hard on your body to try and like regenerate all the blood loss and stuff and all the stuff you
Mhm.
lost in the placenta. So there actually is a strong correlate with iron levels in postpartum depression.
Interesting.
I'm not
At least
even
that was
kidding.
something that
I've
was
heard
told to me
that
by
China uses
my wife's
ketamine to treat,
OBGYN.
mothers, like women that are just have kids, like, and ketamine might decrease postpartum depression and psychosis.
Yeah, I don't know. I know
more iron, and you're like, let's give him fucking drugs. What's wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about it, but I do know that it's something that can happen. You know,
Why don't you
with
just give him magic mushrooms while you're at it?
like no warning, no nothing. You could just go into pregnancy, go into labor perfectly happy and excited, and a baby comes out and is put in your arms, and you have no positive feelings whatsoever. It's very possible it happens. You know, and I don't know if I don't think it's a woman problem per se. I think it's what you were saying. Like, it has something to do with the body. The body does weird things, especially postpartum.
I want you guys to know I hate animated effigy screen as it's just going from like the Death Star to a swirly face. I don't want. It's not consistent. I don't like it.
All right, I think that's got to be it for
Here to
me.
throw you off the
I'm
game.
losing.
It kind of.
She draws me
Thank you for
in.
having me on,
She
Sarah.
leaves early. She comes late.
I know
Bye,
she
Charlie.
just made it past the 2-hour
Oh
mark.
my god, I'm so Soy Pill. Do you want me to wait for you
No,
until
no,
you're ready to go? Are you done? Or you
Fine,
having-
it's fine. I didn't even want you to be here. I signed
Oh,
up for this
okay.
before I even knew you were on it.
I'm sorry. I'll hang out. I'll hang out until you're done.
No, it's
I'll hang
fine. You
out
can
until you're done.
leave. It's fine. It's not like a woman fine. It's a man fine. It's fine. You can leave.
He actually means what he's saying.
I actually mean what I'm saying. I'm not a lying bitch, as Speakeasy
All right.
would say.
Thank you, Soy Pill, for doing this with me. So short notice.
You're welcome.
I did not know that almost every man I know that debates has feelings about abortion. So appreciate you. Thank you. I asked like 4 people, and they were all like,
Oh, cool. So I'm Plan E. Great. Thanks.
I don't know. It's just
That's just
I
you.
was giving
She's
you
just
shit. I'm
coping now.
complaining
She
about
just
you asking.
realized
I'm
she
complaining
got
about you
the
not
fucking dag
asking.
on that
It's
one.
oh my god, nightmare. All right, thank you for having me on, Sarah.
You're most welcome.
Bye,
Thank you,
Soy Pill. Goodbye,
Charlie.
Sarah. Bye.
Have a good evening.
Did she just
I have a
publicly
question.
admit that soy pill is like last resort?
Yeah, she went through a few things trying to
Okay,
figure
but she
this
didn't
one
ask
out.
me, so actually there's a last resort, okay?
You know what's funny is you, Ryan, you were gonna be my first choice, but I gave her the ability to find a partner first, and I said if you can't find anyone, let me know. And you were my first choice to have, but she went through her system and landed on soy pill, so you know.
Yeah, I see how it is, Charlie. It's fine. Look.
Premonition News says in the 70s, women did not have postpartum depression.
Postpartum depression. I think that
sounds fake.
I actually, I hate
that
to say
also,
this,
are you
but
not
I have
allowed
to
to say
agree with
pardon?
Ryan. That sounds really fake. I'm not gonna lie.
This sounds like ridiculous.
Sir, could I ask
There's
a
a lot of
favor?
stuff.
Could you
Real
swap
quick,
me with
there's a lot of
Ryan?
stuff-
Could you swap me with
What?
Ryan? I feel like it would
Oh.
be more appropriate for him to be where I'm at. Thank you.
With my
much.
buddy Soy up here. Thank you. I think there's
Fair
a lot
enough.
of data that people cite from like the 70s and earlier. Like I mean, like data collection on a lot of things has changed like massively. Like I don't know if we should we can take like pre-70s data, pre-80s data even. Like,
I do agree with Ryan a little
like
bit
it's
on that.
2025, you know, guys.
I do agree with Ryan on that. Like, what was that? Like the I think it was in the early 20s or something like that. Like the best treatment for hysteria was fumigation of the vagina.
That still
According
works,
to all the
actually.
studies, that's what we had.
My God.
have a
Savage
question- I have a
Red
question real
says,
quick. Okay,
hold. China deleted baby girls for a long time. Not really who we should take advice from, how they treat women. Ooh. Shots fired.
I agree. We shouldn't force.
Says the
people to get
guy who
abortions. We should allow
said
them.
that Texas had 600,000 births in 2024 when they didn't.
Go ahead, Soy.
Oh yeah, no, I had a question for
Say that data's
Speakeasy.
not
I don't know if you know the Speakeasy, but this is something I've been looking into. But like, if you have tattoos, you do have a heightened like level of isoleucine in your blood, which can cause birth defects, if not miscarriages. And like, have you taken that into account when you're trying to build a family?
Really? I didn't know that.
How does it influence autism?
I mean, I have 7 kids. They're doing just good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Boy's a fucking champ out here.
Oh wow. Well, maybe you're just like dodging all the.
I got
the
4
negative
very
effects of
strong,
tattoos.
very
think you just
intelligent
made that up
offspring.
off of your
I got
head.
lots of tattoos.
Your last
bro.
name Walton?
Walton?
Yeah, the Waltons.
No.
The Waltons. Jim Bob. What is it? Mary Ellen? Mary Ellen? Or Mary? No. Mary. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night. Good night, John Boy.
Yeah,
Good
John
night.
Boy.
Yeah. Premonition News says, Ryan, you were not there. I am a grandma, no depression.
Okay, well, I appreciate that your person takes care of you.
unfortunately.
I appreciate that
Yeah.
the caretaker is letting you donate to Sarah's channel. That's very kind of them, and I am happy that you can be here to get your entertainment in your final years.
The caretaker.
Holy shit, did Ryan just pull an Andrew Wilson of get your husband's credit card out and send us fucking money?
I'm extremely ageist, but yeah, I'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
All right.
I'm looking at stats here that say that people were diagnosed with postpartum depression in the 70s.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was the case. Whether or not it increased or decreased, I have no idea, but I just didn't feel
It might have just not been like a well-known thing. Like, you know, we have the internet. We have like way more touch points around the world. So this is in our face all the time. Everything that happens is in our face. Like, don't take Tylenol when you're pregnant. Like, it's in our face. So I think in terms of the 70s, that just might have not been something that people really talked about. Like, number one, that's not really bragging rights to be like, yeah, I hated my baby when I had it. Let's talk about it. And number two, it just like, I wouldn't find studies of that to be something that people would be like going and digging into.
But
It's
Sarah, don't you know
keep
the
it.
big sad's not real? It's just a mind state.
I don't know, Sarah. Actually, I don't think anyone had autism pre-70s. The people that had all the train sets in the like basement and all that, that was just like really like trains.
I think
I
there's.
just noticed Tylenol was like they dropped all of their stocks in the toy train company.
Oh my God. All right, Fredo, bring something up.
Oh, well, I like to dispel Soy Pill's notion that you have to look at the national average as opposed to states, because whenever a state makes the law, then if it's effective in the state, what happens on the national is irrelevant.
Yeah, I don't know if you weren't listening to the whole debate, but it
No, I heard
absolutely
the
is
whole
relevant
debate.
if
I
the
heard
numbers
everything
go
you
up in the
said.
surrounding states. It's also relevant as to what degree of effectiveness it is. So, for example, it could reduce the abortions, but not by a significant
I'd like
amount.
you to tell me
Especially
how it's relevant.
The issue is there are groups like the Brigade Alliance who will actually book, coordinate, and pay for travel expenses, and childcare, serving as a single trusted point of contact for every step of the journey. Wherever someone needs to get abortion care in the U.S., we find a way to get them there. So if the culture allows for alliance groups to organize and pay for travel for people that wouldn't be able to in these states that it's illegal, then it doesn't matter that it's illegal in those states because people can just go to these alliance groups and
Yeah, so that has no relevancy to the laws being effective within that state, because within that state the abortions went down, right? So you paying for them to go to a different state and the numbers staying the same doesn't fucking matter. The law is still effective, which is the prompt of the debate.
well, it's not effective because they will just
Did the
go
abortions
to
go
these
down in the
alliance
state or not?
groups.
Did the abortion go down or not in the
Did
state?
the abortions go down for the
That's not
people
what
who
the
are from
prompt
the state?
was. The prompt
In
wasn't
the
if it
law.
went, if it's effective in the state. The prompt was if it's effective. So if they're able to
Is the-
travel
okay,
elsewhere
if
and
the
circumvent the technology,
Yeah,
then it's
so
not
why are you
effective.
comparing
Pay
places
attention,
that
pay
don't
attention.
have
We
the
need to
law
lock
to
in.
know if it's effective? That's just stupid.
If
Yeah,
the
hold on a
state
second, hold on a
passes the law,
No, the
within
point
the
is
no,
these laws in
I need
place
you to listen.
aren't being effective because there are other places that the laws are not in place.
Did they have to go to a
They
different
are
state to
effective
get it?
because within the jurisdiction that the law was passed in, the abortions lowered, which means that it is effective. Are you dumb?
Did it stop the abortion?
Give me an
Are you
example of
dumb?
the
Doesn't
girl.
matter, it
He's gonna tell you that,
affected it.
I ain't calling you the other one.
So I guess this is where defining the effectiveness needs to come out of. Did it stop the abortion, or did it just like dissuade it elsewhere? Right? And which one would you determine to be effective, or is one more effective than the other?
Well, the
Right?
increased birth rate would indicate that some of the women that would have got abortions actually didn't, and didn't travel out of state, didn't order pills. They just went through with their pregnancies.
Right, guys.
Did they have? Hold on. I have a follow-up question to that. Then, Speaky, did Texas? I think we're talking about Texas, right? Did Texas have a large surge in people like kind of migrating there, moving there, coming over? I know California had the big exodus into Texas. Where did the marriage rates increase during that same year? Was there something in the water? Like it's kind of like the correlation, not causation thought process, because just because the birth rate is higher doesn't necessarily mean the abortion rate is lower. Like it's because of the lack of abortions. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't like. Do you know how we have a lot of babies in the spring, right? Okay, well, why do we have them all in the spring or summer, or what's the most the month that most people have babies, right? Is it just a thing, or maybe this year was just a different year? Maybe there was just prior to that, the people that were in that age group were doing very specific things that like led to this whole. They all got married the same year, and they all decided to have babies together.
Yeah, Alex, I can
That's what I'm asking.
So laws are
What's
only as
that?
effective as enforcement, right? And
I do agree with
enforcement
that,
is only possible if the culture allows for it. So right
And
now,
also,
the
your
culture is
group- Well,
divided.
What that you just mentioned, we would just classify this
That's
as
illegal.
child trafficking, and then
That's
boom,
illegal.
let's see how many
pay
people are
for
going to
somebody
keep
to go
paying
have
for
an abortion in
out
another
of
state.
country abortions.
Right,
when
but
we
if
consider
no one
it
is
child
enforcing it, a law, then
I can't hear any of you. I can't hear any of you.
That's a great point, Speakeasy. Yes. So when you're talking about running children, that's effectively what it is. People who are
Whatever
under
you're-
18 who are now going to have children, and you're going to take them across state lines to have an abortion. That's a Mann Act.
Yeah, whatever your group is doing is illegal.
No, it's not.
But I would argue the
Yeah, but-
statistics don't matter.
It's
So
still
we
considered
would
part
make
of
it
her body.
illegal. We would make it illegal for you to pay, because if it was a nationwide ban and this group still wanted to act and fly them to a different country or something, we would consider this child trafficking and they would be put under the law. And
In
I bet you
Texas
those
and
groups would
Oklahoma,
stop
it's
doing
illegal.
that.
If
In
enforced,
Texas-
if the culture doesn't allow for enforcement, then the
Culture
law
doesn't
will
allow
just
for
be
enforcement. What do you mean?
right. So if
Well,
the culture is divided at 50%, there are certain laws that are not enforced.
Okay.
I would say even more so if you had it to where you cannot, if you had it to where you can't cross state lines, like if the states that did not have abortion, like anti-abortion laws in place, if they said, okay, you can get an abortion here in this state, but only if you're a state resident, now that would be more effective because that will prevent other residents of other states, unless they had, like, they were military or there was a, they go to school there or something like that. But you could do that to enforce the effectiveness of other states' laws.
Well,
Right.
even-
This is why
I mean, I
this is why I
understand
brought up like if we have to look at what's happening in the states to know what would happen if we made every state a ban. You can't just say, well, the state next door gets a rise in abortions. If the state next door wasn't there, your argument for the state next door is disappeared. So now contend with that, because that would be an anti-abortion law. Just
But
like
we don't know what would
deeming
happen.
people trying to fly people out
we
of
do.
countries for abortions and deeming this child trafficking an anti-abortion law. Not allowing these drugs to be sent through the mail, anti-abortion laws. These would all logically reduce abortions. Like, I don't know how I just don't even know how the other side even tries to argue this. It makes no sense.
Well, because the question is, are you actually stopping the abortion or are you just pushing it onto another state? And so if you find it to be effective by stopping the abortion within your state, then yeah, that's effective. But are you preventing the abortion altogether? Maybe not.
Like we've
So
been
if you look at
saying, in
areas of
states
drug
that
culture,
that
just
stop
because there are
abortion,
drug laws
I'm
does
sorry
not
that your
stop
sentence
drugs,
began in the
right?
center of
So-
mine. So in states that legalize abortion, they have laws against traveling to other states to start abortions. So that it's a non-issue. And like Speakeasy said, if
No,
all
are they
states,
effective? Are they effective? Just because the laws are in place, that's not what the prompt was.
so the argument that you have
So
to
if there
contend
are
with,
these groups,
the argument you have to
are these
contend
groups
with,
still operating, then obviously it's not as effective as you're saying.
and if it was illegal,
Is
if
it
it was
operating
illegal
in the
every
state where it's
state,
banned?
if it
Is
was
that where
illegal
it's
in
laws in
every
place does
state,
not mean that things are going to be shut off, right? So there's laws in place for plenty of drugs in America. There's lots of drugs in America, right? So cocaine's against the law. A lot of people do cocaine. Dealing prescription
Still
drugs is
enforced.
against. It's still enforced, but people are
Just
still
because-
doing
so
it.
should we
right?
make cocaine
So yes,
legal because people
yes,
still do it?
You are right. You are right. As soon as there's an enforcement, there could be a drought and people will stop doing it. I concede to that. You're correct, right? But that relies on enforcement, and enforcement relies on culture. So if the
No, it
culture doesn't allow, it does. It
No,
does
it doesn't.
because
Absolutely, it does not.
because you need people to enforce it.
Yeah, you need. Yeah, so if let me ask you something. In the state of Michigan, adultery is actually a felony. Did you know that? Nobody gets charged for felonies when they cheat on their wife or husband. But if it was the case that the governor and the district attorney of the state or
Doesn't
whatever,
that
and the prosecuting
make my
attorney of the
point?
state decided they were going to start enforcing that law again, do you think the cops would start enforcing that?
They might, yeah, because they're
Does
getting
that,
paid.
does that
to,
depend on
right?
the culture now, or can the
So another,
the prosecuting
it
attorney
does,
just
it does.
that?
And another point
Why
is
does it depend on the culture? Then when it's up to one guy, you can just say, "Yeah, start enforcing that again."
because that person is a citizen, and he was voted in by other citizens
Of that state? Oh,
of that state.
And
So
that
that
one
relies on
citizen
culture.
is the culture of the state.
Relies on
You
culture.
just have to be
So
voted
you
in
just
on
you
that
just
premise.
Okay, look,
Hold
I got a
on.
question
Hold
to
the
put to
fuck
the whole panel.
on.
They're
Enough.
not being
Stop.
enforced.
Soy, are you leaving, darling?
I have it out, Sarah. Thank you very much for
Tell everyone your kind goodbyes.
my kind goodbyes are, as much as we disagree, Speakeasy, I'm glad that you have 7 beautiful children, and I think your hair is actually luxurious. I think that was the biggest W I've ever seen you take. So
Appreciate it.
And knowing that you are an American citizen, get the fuck out of Canada, dude. Come here, dude. We're better, okay? I've
That
been
is-
there.
that
It's
is fair.
great. So, Steelborn, it's fun. You got a good sense of humor, and thank you again, Sarah.
Thank you, Soy. We appreciate you, especially
Fun
for
having
the
a debate
last
with you guys.
minutes.
I've got a question for the whole panel, actually, real quick, because I need to clarify some things. Everybody keeps mentioning effective. I don't really.
It doesn't matter what. No, I'm just kidding.
But I don't think my argument was being addressed. I just wanted to ask a question on this. Okay, if you want to say that, because even the numbers going up, numbers going down actually wouldn't matter, because of what I was saying earlier, is that you have an omniscience factor. You're not going to know every single testimony of every single person that's been pregnant or not. So you're not going to know. The statistics aren't really going to matter on this. What's going to matter is, how do you define effective? So what I would ask for those of you who are advocating, as I would, against any kind of abortion, what number would you accept as effective? Would you accept 1?
Yes.
See, I would too.
That's a great start.
So
Let's
the argument,
keep it going, though.
yeah, the start of that is where I wanted the argument to go. I was hoping to hear from the other side. What would be the maximum number then you would say that is ineffective? What number would it have to go over for you to say, okay, well, now it's effective?
All right. Let's say it was federally banned in the United States that if you got an abortion, you were treated as a murderer and you were prosecuted for murder and you spent life in prison for it, or you were given the death penalty, depending on local jurisdictions and all that great stuff. Right. If it was the case that, the 1.5 million abortions that we have, that number didn't move, yeah, I would definitely consider that ineffective. Now, let's say we dropped it down to, we got 1 million abortions done. Like they just not happening anymore. Now it's 500,000 on average. That's a massive that's 1 million people not getting aborted every year. That's a massive increase.
Well, I would like to hear from anybody who's against the effectiveness, as to say that it's not effective. What would that number look like?
Yeah, me too.
FGK.
It's hard to nail down.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as which,
I didn't say it was going to be an easy question. I wanted a number.
I mean, I could pull one, like 10% reduction, pull something out of my ass.
Okay,
Arbitrary.
so what's your reasoning behind why 10%? Why not 5 or 15?
I pulled it out of my ass. There's no reason.
That's the best you got for that.
Obviously,
then really the debate
is
question
effective.
comes down to what, in my opinion, I think, and I mean no offense to Sarah on this one. I think it was an appropriate question to ask for a debate subject because you need a definite. But it really, for this discussion, should have been, how effective are abortion laws, in restricting abortion? That probably would have been better, only because this entire debate really comes down to a subjective opinion. And that's why it seemed to go all over the place and they couldn't stay on topic, is because it's just bouncing around subjective ideas on what they think is effective.
Well, to be fair,
I'll explain. This was my prompt, so I can explain the idea behind it. The idea.
Oh,
behind
it's your prompt. Okay, sorry about
the
that.
idea behind this all stemmed from Chuck responding, or replying to a tweet that I saw on X, and it was like that Kentucky University girl who killed her newborn and threw it in the closet, and she's like, "This is what anti-abortion laws do." And so I responded. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So I challenged her to debate on the efficacy of abortion laws. And the idea wasn't the ones that we currently have necessarily, but it was the concept, the idea of an anti-abortion law. Does that actually, make a bunch of women kill their newborns and throw them in a closet? Or does it actually reduce the totality of abortions if we were to have, like a federal abortion ban? That was the idea behind the prompt. Now, to be fair, I could have elaborated that idea a little better, but that was the idea going in, was is the concept an effective concept, or is it, because it could be you could have the best ever law for stopping people from shoving cocaine in their eyes, right? But if it's not implemented properly or it's not enforced, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'd say the enforcement arm definitely has, but it's really what I want to say is not really enforcement arm. It's the threat of enforcement, which does, I understand logically, it begs the question. Yeah, I understand that, but the idea is, and what I'm saying is that the omniscience of it, okay, how can we analyze every single person in an entire state or entire country? We really can't do that to know whether somebody has been affected by that threat of enforcement or not. So the idea that one life saved by making entire law for a state or a nation, whatever what you were arguing earlier, is then effective. So then that then settles the argument. But then when the other side says, well, no, I would need at least 10,000 to say it was effective, they then have also won the argument. So all sides actually won their argument tonight. That was my point.
So if only one life saved is what you call
there
effective.
are some people I think common sense would say that there are just some people that won't break the law if they know the law. The question is, are those the type of people that are getting abortions? Probably not.
I don't think people seeking abortions are criminally minded the same way where it's like
yeah,
the reason why
exactly.
gun control wouldn't work is because criminals don't care what's illegal, and people who commit gun crimes most of the time actually get these guns illegally to begin with. So it's like, I don't think that the people who seek out an abortion are criminally minded in the same way, which is actually an argument that I wanted to bring up against Chuck, which is why I think that, you know, a federal abortion ban would be effective, but gun control wouldn't. I don't think the women seeking abortions are, you know, they are necessarily have a criminal mindset going into it or even thinking like that.
Well, gun control is effective. Is effective if we're counting Chris's definition of if it affects one person, then that technically is an effect, right? So gun control is effective if there's the threat of enforcement, because there are some people that just won't break the law.
Well, it's the idea behind the law. It's like what's the like the spirit of the law? What are you trying to accomplish? With gun control, it's they want to reduce, like people who want gun control say they want to reduce gun deaths. It wouldn't work because criminals don't care what's illegal at that point. Whereas what do people who want abortion laws want? Well, we want abortions to stop happening. We don't think that the people who want to illegally acquire firearms and do illegal things with said firearms are in this anywhere near the same state of mind or the same moral set or moral values as the people who are committing all these violent crimes with firearms.
Yeah, what you said there was actually on point, though, because the definition of effective is adequate for the purpose at hand. And if the purpose at hand is to stop an abortion, then only one. Just like if a country didn't have a law against murder in general, and then they say, well, we want murders to go down, so we're going to make this law, and it prevents one person from killing, which how would you know that? Because you'd have to be thought police to even know that. But if it did prevent one, then its purpose is accomplished, which means it's effective, and that's what I'm talking about. It just depends.
It's just like DUI laws, right? Like there's still people who drink and drive, right? But it would be stupid to say that it's not effective to have laws against drinking and driving, because obviously more people would drink and drive if we weren't getting arrested.
And not only that, people who get DUIs usually I don't think most people who are getting DUIs are criminally minded. Usually they were at their nephew's graduation party and had one too many and got behind the wheel.
So if you guys want these laws and the effectiveness only means one person, what do you think about an abortion law that causes the death of a woman sitting in a hospital who's having a miscarriage that they won't help?
Oh, so right here, what you're bringing up, this is a red herring. This is
man.
What you're doing here is you're pointing out medical malpractice, which I'm against. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and defend those stupid ass.
I'm talking about an effect of having abortion laws.
Yeah, but they obviously should have been able to differentiate that the child was no longer alive inside the woman, and know that they're able to.
By the way, I think if you actually look it up, I believe that all states that have anti-abortion laws do have stipulations.
They have exception for life of the mother.
Every single one of them, as far as I know.
Those doctors are just retards, and I'll agree with you. Some doctors.
No, these weren't. I mean, there were some that were ectopic pregnancies, but there were also women who were mid miscarriage who were not allowed treatment. Some of them bled out. Me and Sarah talked about this the other night.
I agree with you that it's wrong that happened, Effigy, but that's not pointing to the abortion law. That's pointing to the medical malpractice and the dumb doctors that made the decision.
And that's not even the idea behind it.
I'd like
Stop women from who are having
these are the same doctors that abortion advocates would say, but they know what's right for the mother.
It's like a paramedic letting somebody bleed out on accident because they didn't really know how to do a suture correctly. Like, it's medical malpractice. It's not the same thing as like literally just going and cutting the guy. That's crazy.
No, it's a matter of liability. It's a hospital putting out a rule because of how a law is being interpreted in that state.
You're attributing to malice what is in fact, in actuality, stupidity.
Competence, yeah.
I would agree with you, except that's the stupidity on one side. Who doesn't understand when abortions are needed for things like ectopic pregnancies or
then let's argue it like this. Okay, look, Effigy, we'll argue it like this. Hold on, we'll argue it like this, okay? The law was set up to protect babies, not the mother. So it's accomplishing its purpose.
So you're fine with it protecting babies even at the expense of women's lives? You're
Yeah,
fine.
hold on. Let me. I'll make a
Get
couple.
with
I'll make a couple of
Congress,
concessions.
get
Let's do this.
legislation together, put up a law that protects mothers.
Your animation is not helping your argument, just
All right,
so
hold
you
on.
know.
Effigy. Let me just
Close
make.
Halloween,
Let's see
man.
how
We
you
gotta have
think.
pretty ones.
Hold on. Let me see. Let's say that like there was a federal ban on abortion, except in the exceptions of life of the mother in the case of miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, anything like that that was that was going to kill her, or the baby was already dead at that point, which I don't. No pro life advocate would ever consider a DNC or is it DNE? I don't remember which one it is. The removal of a dead baby inside of a woman, we don't consider that an abortion. We're not morally abhorrent to that. Like that's not what we're talking about. If we made allowed
abortion
for
is
those
the intentional
exceptions,
ending of the life. That's it.
yeah, it's the intentional
Abortion
ending
is
of
a
the
medical procedure that can happen to even a dead baby.
Bro, we recognize what
Dude, I'm trying to make
Lobotomies
this
were
famous right now, so we're
medical
not talking past each
procedures
other.
too. Effigy. Where should we go back to giving women lobotomies? Like what the fuck?
Yes.
Like, what is this
Yes,
about?
please.
Sarah's like, yes, I want to drool all day and not
Yes.
at all.
Yes.
Effigy,
Give me
I
one. Give me
understand that there's-
one.
So we're working from two different definitions of abortion. There's the definition of abortion that I'm working with, which is the intentional taking of a life that's in utero, and you're working from a definition that says anything that terminates a pregnancy, whatever, whatsoever. That's the definition you're operating from.
Yeah, the medical definition. Yeah.
Because he doesn't recognize it as a baby, he recognizes
Not,
it
not
what?
the moralistic
What?
definition, the actual medical
a
definition.
clump of cells. We
Great.
know.
Just because it's the medical definition, does that make it true?
How would it not make it true?
I
if
wanted
it's the
to-
medical definition
Why
of
is it
that we're
true?
using?
Because it's the medical
Doctor is his god.
It's more accurate though, right?
No, I don't think it's more accurate.
Hold
Dr.
on.
Lifer is saying that you can't.
Hold on. From Yale Medicine, it says abortion is the termination of a pregnancy before the fetus can survive outside the uterus. It can occur spontaneously, known as miscarriage, or be induced intentionally through medical or surgical procedures. So if it's already dead,
Yeah, you're right. That
then it's not.
Recently,
Okay,
it's also
so-
been changed to the miscarriage is also considered abortion, but we're obviously not talking about
But
that.
it specifically says before the fetus can survive outside the uterus. If the baby is stillborn, already dead inside of the womb, then that is not an abortion based on this definition.
Yeah, but it said spontaneous abortion.
It
You
can
see, what's
occur
spontaneous-
spontaneously, known as miscarriage, or be induced intentionally through
Then
medical
that
or
has to-
surgical.
Then that has to relate to the word death. In order to have, and if it's intentional, then that becomes murder. Because if you're calling it something than what it naturally is, because if it naturally occurs, then life is going to give birth. Like the mother's going to give birth to life, and that is life that is within her. So anything that happens other than what is naturally supposed to take place is death.
Yeah, so that.
I mean, do you see my point? What I'm saying?
Pinky and I are arguing from though, animated, is that we're not talking about if the baby has died and they go in to remove the dead baby, which is sad. We're talking about if it's the case that the baby's alive and then they go in there and then they fucking shove a knife into it and now it's not, or they go in and they fucking spray it with saline, which is another way they do abortion, and it just basically melts the baby. They do that one and they say that's that, but it was alive prior to that. We want those ones to stop. If the baby's dead, we don't care if you take it out. It's that, like, let's say the mother's having
and I wanted to bring up the what is it, the Hippocratic Oath, I think, is that
they don't even do that anymore. The American Medical Association.
Yeah, that's been changed for a while.
Well, but isn't it the doctor's duty to save? It's not.
No, do no harm is no longer. They don't even do the Hippocratic Oath nationally anymore.
I was unaware of that. I didn't know
The
that.
AMA doesn't.
Yeah, they changed
require
that.
them?
The AMA does not require
50,
doctors
70 years ago.
to the Hippocratic
Really?
Oath.
That
Yeah.
seems a bit.
I don't
know about that. But I did want to read. So, fetus, according to the U.S. Code, is product of conception from implantation until delivery, and then abortion does not have a single definition. However, when you look at U.S. Code 1531, defines as partial birth abortion, right? So, if you're really looking at this from the perspective of what is a fetus, and then you look at the U.S. Code, the definition is from conception. But then whenever you look at the actual code, and it's not, like I said, actually defined, but it does include a partial birth, abortion, things like that. Speaking of abortion, it literally is defining the fetus, right? So when we're talking about babies, right, inside of the womb, the fetus is that life begins at conception, right? And there are laws against this, by the way. It does include restrictions on certain things when it comes to abortion. There are laws, and these laws are effective.
Yeah, because even one life saved is effective according to the law's purpose. That's my point.
Yeah, yeah. And here's another thing, this little concept I thought about. Okay, so states may be putting in abortion laws, and there was Roe v. Wade. It was overturned. I'm wondering now, when it comes to like warning labels with cigarettes, warning labels with medication, these things we would say are effective in preventing abuse, right? So would it be effective to at least be doing legislation to perhaps educate the people? I mean, that's my opinion of these things. Now, the reason I say this is because
Make them all believe your religion.
Getting an outright ban on things in a lot of cases is very difficult. But if you educate the population on what things are, it will in fact turn their stomach when they really do consider what they are doing, which is to not just terminate a clump of cells, but it's actually red rum. So like the idea for me would be at least to start from a place of education.
What Effigy was trying to say is that he doesn't believe in the same thing you do. I think the issue you're trying
you can call it murder all you want.
Yeah.
But until most of the country actually believes you, then I don't care.
Nine out of 12 scientists
country believing him have anything to do with what it is?
Effigy, come on.
You wouldn't be able to impose it on everyone.
One at a
You wouldn't be able to
time.
impose it unless most of the people believe it, right?
Yeah, but Effigy, you're being bad faith because when we say it's murder, we're saying it ought to be considered murder legally because murder's a legal term. Come on now.
Well, let me throw a little wrench into the chat here. If you want to keep going with this panel this evening, and I have plenty of more fun people hanging out backstage, you're only 3 out of 10 on the dono goals, and you've had 45 minutes thus far, and you're failing here. So if you want to shut down and go to bed early, I'm happy to oblige. But if you want to keep going, chat, you know what to do. Finish that dono goal. Finish it.
And those manions.
But the worldview difference, I understand with what Effigy was saying there. What I think that you were trying to say, in Clay, what you were pointing out, was that simply going through the facts and the procedure, not the speculation of worldviews or religious stuff. It's none of that. It's here are the facts of what has to happen, and here are the procedures. Because most women that go in for abortions are not educated on those things. They don't know exactly all the details of what's going on. They
Is that an assumption, or do you know that?
Well, it is actually true. So most young people aren't educated the way that you would expect them to be. They're not teaching these things in school. The parents aren't teaching these things. But if the clinic had these posters up, like when you walk into to most federal buildings, they put up posters for certain things that you can and cannot do. When it comes to the actual definition,
that shame them, yeah.
So when it comes to the actual definition, according to U.S. federal regulations,
what happens in horror shows, right? Murder.
Yeah, when it comes to the actual definition, it says it's a product of conception from implantation until delivery.
Well, hold on.
Now,
I want to
that
address
fact alone.
Let's address Effigy's argument. Like what he's saying. He's like, you're trying to create a horror show. Well, what about people who have been? I mean, what is your position on this? When people have been convicted of a DUI, and the judge says you got to take classes, DUI classes, where they show people who have killed people, people have gotten wrecks, and all the horror show of what actually is going on. Is that wrong for them to do? Do you think that's wrong?
After they've already done something?
Yeah, well, I think they ought to do it beforehand. I think people ought to get a license, but it's just, is it wrong? Whether they do it before or after.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that trying to shame people or to try to show them images would be an egregious moral attack
then
on
let me give
someone,
you a
but
different
it
let me
is
give you a different example. Okay,
the
I
things
was
you've
in
been saying though is how people are just like simply ignorant and they just go in and they don't even know anything, like that people aren't actually at least some level of knowledgeable about a medical procedure that they're going to go through. Like,
Well,
not all abortions
he's
are
asking if it's
these gross
literally
horrific things
you
either,
come
right?
up
Just
here and
taking a
prove
pill.
people don't see it as a human life. So I mean, how much do they know, Effigy? How much do they know, buddy?
I sat through a class one time. I went through a substance abuse class where we had a guy that came in who'd smoked his whole life, and he had one of those holes in his throat, and he had to speak through one of the things. You know, like that guy on, was it the cartoon, like South Park or whatever, the guy that speaks through the throat. We had one of those guys come in, and that scared a lot of people, a lot of kids, and be like, "Wait a second, we probably shouldn't be doing this." Is that wrong?
You know what is wrong? Is why did that super chat not come through on this side? Oh no, why is it not letting me open it? There it is. Oh, that's weird. Now it's not showing
Can I
up under
comment
starred.
on what Chris just said?
Yeah, after this brief message. This is the color to meet the goal target. Do it, chat. Do that. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, that might scare people, but it's kind of a push and a pull between whether that fear can be counteracted by social influence, right? So like, yeah, they can be scared for the couple years when they're like 8 to 10 years old, and then they get to an older age and they see all their friends doing it and there's no issue. They see older people doing it, there's no issue. And they're like, what the fuck was that guy even talking about? Like, I haven't seen any of this. Like, was that even caused by smoking? Like, we don't even know.
I heard your Canadian come out when you said
But that didn't answer my question.
Yeah, we do know.
No,
that.
it's not wrong to do it, but it's wrong if it's a lie. It's wrong if it's not based on.
Nobody argued that we were going to lie to people. We're just showing them
Well, no,
facts.
but people.
That was
but
the initial
let's say
argument that Clay was
but
making.
there is an effort to stop people from smoking, and a lot of what they said is probably lies, probably cover-ups for cancer caused by factory conditions and other things. That it's shifted over. The blame is shifted over to this other industry smoking for whatever reason.
What Clay said. You see, the entire example I gave was to support what the argument Clay was making. Clay is saying we're simply going to show them the facts of the procedure that was done. I said that initially too because I was supporting what he was saying, and I was just trying to clarify it a little bit. So that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at examples of somebody who made something up. That we're not looking to lie to anybody.
Yeah, it's been proven to do. Yeah, it's been proven.
Right?
Hey,
Spot
real
on.
quick,
Yes,
Adam's making an
it's
extra
been proven to be effective.
Wrong to do to show people facts, right?
But
it's been proven to be effective. Yeah.
Only effective if it's not counteracted.
I got to dip.
Right?
I
So
wanna say
like,
good night, guys. I got to dip.
What?
Good night, guys. Had a great time.
Bye,
Good night.
Stillborn. Thanks for coming.
Have a
Thanks
good
for being our
night,
partner on
bro.
this. And we fucking won that debate.
Big
Fucking
dubs.
right, buddy.
I want to say
Fucking
one more
right.
thing.
Smashed it.
Yeah, I want to
Good
hear
job.
you because I have to go in a minute too, but I want to hear you out. Go ahead.
Everyone here is talking about surgical abortions right now and not talking about medical abortions. And I think they made a good point.
It was mentioned.
Yes, but they made a good point that, yeah, surgical abortions will go down, but that doesn't mean that the medical abortions can be stopped. So
killing somebody with poison and chopping their body up is both equally disgusting, right? They're both murder.
Again, when you say these things can't be stopped, no one's up here arguing that any law ever is going to completely eliminate said thing.
Okay, so another point. So for these couple privileged individuals that were debating against Speakeasy and what was his name? The other guy, Steelborn. So the privileged couple people, so they could look at it as would it effectively stop them from getting abortions? And the answer is no. The answer is no, because they can circumvent technology and they can find a way to have it done. It's the same way for any privileged person in society. The laws don't really affect everyone uniformly. You can look at it. You can look
That's
at
the same for every law. I'll just concede
you can
that
look at
laws
Epstein and
affect
Trump
poor
and,
people worse. And what?
Was the prompt reduce or prevent?
So what is effective?
Also,
right?
good evening,
What is
everybody.
effective? Is it effective on
Just
a personal
effective.
level, or is
How
it
you
effective
doing,
on a
bud?
social level, right?
Well,
Okay,
it's
so can we
effective
just
that in
clarify,
that
just to finish
state,
the point, because I
you
have to
could
go.
measure
Can
the decline from before the ban happens.
I just want to
Go-
clarify before I leave. Did we all agree that it is not wrong in any sense to show people facts about a procedure or
I-
facts of
I believe
what
it's
happened?
yeah.
Everybody
Did
conceded
we all
except
agree on
KO
that?
Dave.
That
KO Dave
we
was
can
silent.
agree that
but
facts are okay to show people.
What about me?
Is that right?
You were silent, but the other